Morning.
Good morning, Blake.
How are you doing? I'm good.
Ugh.
Good. We got about 15 seconds. Stand by.
Pricing. Get Saxon Insurance. It's the smart thing to do.
Big news. I have some important news for you.
Interesting news.
It's Blake and Aaron's Spilling the Tea with Sandy.
K-Man's top news headlines of the day from CMR.
Good morning, Sandy. How are you?
Hey, frog in my throat. Good morning, Blake. How are you?
That's okay. That happens in the morning, right?
I know.
Yeah, it's good. It's a midweek. This full work week. We're making our way through it. We can do it. We can do it.
Absolutely. Let's start off with talking some money. So
Okay.
billions of dollars in Russian-owned assets have been frozen in the Cayman Islands. And it's left a lot of people asking the question, can I get some of that money? And the short answer is no. The government has said that since March the 1st, the Financial Reporting Authority has received over 800 compliance reporting forms related to Russian sanctions. And as a result of that, some $8.4 billion has been frozen since the sanctions began. That's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money.
Yeah.
Do you know how many millions are in a billion?
A lot.
1,000.
Wow.
1,000 millions.
I can't even, my brain can't really process that amount of money. Like
there's 8,000 millions.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine seeing that in your bank account one day, like someone accidentally deposited some money? You'd be like, what? Amazon shopping spree. You can buy Amazon.
Get to spending.
I know.
It is Amazon Prime Day today. That's the final day. FYI.
Oh man, I gotta get on there. They sent me an email, but I haven't had a chance to look. So that's quite interesting indeed. Congratulations to two members of the Cayman Islands Coast Guard who are actually in training at the Britannia Royal Navy College. So this is a bit of good news. Mr. Officer Christopher McTaggart and Ariana Wheeler Saijas, I think is maybe how that's pronounced. They're taking part in an intense 9-week course designed for the Royal Navy Reserve. And it's going to really be exposing them to the highest, what they say is the highest standards of basic naval officer training. So congrats to them. They've said that this is the greatest opportunity of their life. That's OS McTaggart. So no doubt that's an honor, and they will be representing the Cayman Islands really well. Speaking of representing the Cayman Islands, Cayman has registered for the regional junior boxing tournament that's coming up in Guyana next month. So this is interesting news. We haven't heard much about the Boxing Association recently, so I'm glad to see that something's going on. So two officials, they've registered a team of one boxer and two officials for the August the 19th through the 21st event, which will be staged at the National Gymnasium there in Guyana. So good luck to the Cayman representatives. 16-year-old light middleweight Alex Lopez will be representing the Cayman Islands. So, yeah.
Very cool.
Let's see how that goes. And in other news, Cayman Brac has a bit of good news for all the Brackers. The social services will be expanding some of the services available in Cayman Brac, according to them, the Department of Children and Family Services. Everything from needs assessment unit and other services that fall under DCFS are hoping to transform services for their clients in Cayman Brac. And I know that people who live in the Brac are definitely welcoming this type of inclusion and expansion of services. So Mr. Honorable Andre Ebanks spoke on it. And again, he's the Minister for Investment, Innovation, and Social Development. So fingers crossed for them that they continue to see some of the benefits. I feel like sometimes they feel like they get left out on a lot of different things. So this is a wonderful initiative. And those are some of your news headlines today. It is Caribbean Connection Wednesday on our show this morning. So we're going to be looking at a couple of regional things to kick off our discussion.
Since we have a minute here, I do want to tell you that today is National French Fry Day.
How is it?
Yeah, today is National French Fry Day. Would you pay $200 for a plate of French fries?
No.
Well, there's a restaurant in New York City. It's called Serendipity 3. I've never heard of it, but they are bringing back. Apparently, I've done this before. They're bringing back their $200 plate of French fries for National French Fry Day, which is today. Now, let me tell you why it's $200.
Okay.
The French fries are made out of chipperbeck potatoes. Never heard of those. Have you?
Yeah, they must be special now.
sounds fancy. Dom Perignon champagne.
Okay.
Cage-free goose fat, truffle oil,
Yeah.
shaved black summer truffles from Italy, and then they top it with a 23-karat edible gold crust.
Wow.
And it's called officially the creme de la creme pomme frites. And it goes for a whopping $200.
Do you have a picture you can send me? Because I'm like salivating right now, but I need a visual.
I will dig one up. Yes.
Yeah,
I will
just
dig
send
one
me
up.
a photo because I'd love to see it.
I don't know why people want to eat gold though. I don't understand that. You know what I mean? Like, I want to put gold in the bank in my safe deposit box. I don't want to eat it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know, but that's a lot of money for French fries. I mean,
Happy National French Fries.
sounds good, but all right.
All right, catch Sandy coming up at 7:30 on Bobo 89.1 FM, and where her show was fire yesterday.
Oh,
So
yes, indeed.
Hopefully you can follow it up again today with a good one.
Yeah.
And then we'll see you tomorrow for the Thursday headlines. All right.
Sounds great. Have a good one.
See you later.
All right, folks, we are getting ready. 1 minute left. Let's enjoy a little bit of that beautiful national song. Makes my heart all warm and fuzzy.
Peppermint, sorrel, ginger, beaver grass, or English. Get it ready. Your morning tea just got hotter.
Ooh, honey child.
On the cold, hard truth. Bobo 89.1 and Cayman's #1 talk show are bringing you morning talk like no one else. Monday Rewind, Impact Wednesdays, Caribbean Connections, and much more. Don't miss a beat with what's happening in the local community. Just keep sipping your tea.
What a mess.
Here's your host, live and direct from the Cayman Islands, Sandy Hill.
Good morning, Cayman. Rise and shine. Let's get up and at 'em. Come on, lazy bones. Roll out of bed. I know some of y'all still in bed. Some mornings, I'm sure you just do not want to even move. You're like, Sandy, can I just listen to you while I'm in bed? And I'm going to say, no, get up. Have some tea, have some coffee, have some water. What else do y'all drink in the morning? I don't know. I think some of y'all be drinking something stronger. But I'm just saying good morning to everyone. I'm actually sitting down today. Let me turn on my camera. Oops, sorry. That was an annoying noise so you guys can see me. There we go. Most days, 99% of the time I'm standing. But today I feel like my energy is a little bit like I got to sit down. Like I probably need to eat some good breakfast. So I got my overnight oats in my hand. And gonna stir this up properly so I can kind of eat in between breaks and stuff like that. I try not to eat when I'm talking to y'all. I know some of y'all are bothered by chewing. You're like, what is that chewing noise? Oh my God, Miss Sandy, you're gonna kill me with chewing. I'm like, all right, calm down. Calm down, y'all. So good morning to everyone. Man, I tell you what, yesterday morning I was fielding all sorts of comments after yesterday's show. I'm going to share some of those comments with you guys here in a minute. Whew, yeah, some days it's hotter than others. And, every day you can't have a show as hot as what it was yesterday. Let's be honest. I want to manage your expectations. This is what I always say. I feel like we have good shows every single day here, but sometimes we turn up the heat just a little bit. And I appreciate that yesterday was fiery, but you can't get that every day. Some days you got to turn it down a little bit because Lord, we'd burn up the studio. Um, you know, listen. Yes, my loves, can't have it every day, but we can have it every once in a while. Some people were like, "Ooh, Sandy, I feel like we're in election mode." I said, "Lord Jesus, we soon get there." Believe it or not, the general election will be here before you know it. 3 years is going to fly by. One thing I know about time is it stands still for no man or woman or anybody. And it just is like, bloop, bloop, bloop. Somebody's asking me what station I'm on. What? You guys don't know the best station for morning talk? Bobo 89.1. Now, I send it out every single day in my news group. So listen, couple ways you can listen to the show. One way is obviously social media. So we got Facebook, YouTube. We used to do Instagram, but those Instagram people, a lot of them are too immature. They're not ready for real conversation in the morning, child. They'd be like over there playing games. So I can't be bothered with them. Sometimes I feel like I should include them, but if they're really interested, they can jump on Facebook or YouTube. And then, of course, Bobo 89.1, as of March the 28th, we're available there as well. So you can listen in the car, on the drive to work. And they actually have an online streaming link. So, some of y'all that work in the government building, I know government be trying to block stuff so y'all can be productive and get to work. So if you want an alternative link, just message me. I won't tell them. Just keep working. That's the key. Put in your headphones, silently mind your business, and keep working. Some people tell me all the time, they're like, listen, we know when the show is really, really hot because all of a sudden our office is really quiet. Somebody over at Flow told me when we did a show about their little hot mess over there with the new CEO or general manager, or whatever title they're giving the person today. Everybody was like, Sandy, the office was so quiet. A pen could drop and you'd be like, oh my God, it is so quiet in here. Everybody had headphones in, heads down, and they were just staring at the computer screen. I don't know if they were really working, but it was really quiet. And then somebody else said to me that there were people in the parking lot who couldn't even get out of their cars because they were listening to it on the radio. I said, Lord, wow, what a mess. So big shout out to the folks over at Bobo 89.1 DMS station. Diamond Princess has got it locked. Marshall is here. Good morning to Emma. Thank you so much. Damien is here. I think Damien was talking about those French fries this morning. $200 for French fries. Oh my God. I guess when you have a lot of money, maybe you don't think about how you spend it. The more you have, probably the more you spend. I think that's fair to say. But those would have to be, yeah, man, I don't know. Like I'm just not, I'm a little bit, I'm not a super miser. So I know some people who are like super duper misers, like they don't want to spend money or anything. That's not really me. Like if I'm really into something, I'll spend money on it. But I don't think I could ever be into French fries quite that much. I gotta be honest with you. Those must be some crazy French fries. World's most expensive French fries. Let me see. I want to see what they look like. Yeah. I think it's at some point that you got to say, of course, this is Manhattan's Upper East Side. There's just some point when you got to say to yourself, that's just ridiculous. I mean, a French fry is a French fry. Now, listen, I do love truffle French fries. They're good, but they're not $200 good. No. Olivia, good morning. Any of you would be willing to spend $200 on any food item? Not just French fries. Y'all know I love food. But $200? You know what my Aunt Adonia always says? Y'all probably know her as Topsy from East End. She's a little firecracker sometimes, honey child. She's got quite a personality. My aunt be like, listen, food is temporary. It comes out, it goes in one end and comes out the other. So I'm like, yes, but while it's going in, you want to really enjoy it. I don't think she places too much emphasis on it, but I love me good food now. Y'all know it's Caymanians, child. We can get into some good, delicious things. Oh God, Caymanian food is like the best. Y'all know how we love rice and beans, and I'm not a huge rice person. Like, I eat rice because I feel like when you mix it with other things, it's good. But you know how some people can just sit down and eat rice by itself? That's not me. I'm just like, what are you doing? Why are you eating rice? Yep. Good morning to Miss Morna, the beautiful Miss Morna, joining us from the lovely District of Prospect. By the way, big shout out to Minister Sabrina Turner. She might be busy this morning. I wonder if she wants to jump on with us. Her camp has kicked off. It started on, I want to say Monday. And she messaged me, yes, it started on Monday. She said the camp is going well. The kids enjoyed day one. And I'm so wanted to express thankfulness for how everything is working out. I'll send you pictures later on. Was busy trying to get a proper group photo. New kids came and registration too. So they were still doing registration right up until Monday. So yeah, it looks like the kids are having a lot of fun. I think that during the summer months, it's challenging to have activities for your children, where they can be in a safe place, and, parents still have to work and all those types of things. The more kids you have, the more things you got to figure out for them to do. So, I only have the one child, and we're doing this summer. She's at her regular school because, she doesn't start big school until August. So her regular school does a summer camp program, which is like, they still go and they do like arts and crafts. They hang out in the garden a lot and they get really super dirty and they run up and down. Speak of the devil. Her ears are burning. She's listening to the radio. Good morning, Minister Turner.
Good morning, CMR and
You
Sandra and all of those who are listening and streaming.
You heard me calling your name, honey child.
I heard you, but we were in the kitchen preparing breakfast. We're doing pancakes this morning and fritters.
Oh, nice. So the kids get breakfast too?
Oh yeah, 3 square meals. We do breakfast, lunch. We just send them home with a nice big enough snack in the evening, and even during the day they get intermittent snacks. Yeah.
Can I come for camp?
Of course, because when I hear some of our friends, when they hear the menu, they're like, we come in for lunch.
Oh, that's so wonderful. So tell us how it's been going.
It's been going great so far. This is my first time ever putting on a camp, and I must say the first week so far is going well. We've had a great response. We've had an average of 43, 47 kids at the most, and we know that more are joining us next week. Our tours really and field trips really kick off as of Monday.
Oh, wow.
And and we're actually going to Parliament. We're going to Parliament tomorrow. So yeah, great things are in store. They've been making some neat arts and crafts. We're taking it back to the day, making old time kites and everything. So the kids have been having a blast. It's once they get in and they're registered, their temperatures are taken. We all go in the back and we prepare for breakfast. Then we do your worship time, and we do the national anthem and get them all riled up.
Oh, nice.
And then we set off into our arts and crafts for whatever we're going to be doing that day. It's all mapped out by my volunteers, which we have teachers and seasoned volunteers who've been in this for a long time. And then we go straight into lunch in the afternoon session. So this week was really touch and go for myself, the volunteers, because I'm still doing my ministerial duties, having to go to caucus and all this sort of stuff. So yeah, it's a great responsibility. But the parents are just excited. They're very grateful because, it's free and they don't have to worry about their kids being in a safe place, that's not the option. And kudos to all the parents as well for coming on time, 3:30, to pick up their kids. So everything is working out well. I can only give thanks to God for the volunteers, all of those persons who saw my vision, bought in, sponsored, and just sent, snacks and stuff for us to get started.
Wow. Sounds wonderful. So what are the kids doing during the day?
During the day, they are taught different classes, arts and crafts. Like we said, we do different field trips as well. And then there's education. We're building on it now with etiquette and all this sort of stuff, about our environment and basic skills. So when these kids leave here and they have gifts that they work towards, there could be some great vouchers so that they can go shopping, and so you give them that independence. And we look at responsibility, teach cooking classes, and all that sort of stuff is all on the agenda for them to learn about. And we're definitely no screen time. We want engagement, interaction, and just knowing each other. Getting to know, so the cell phone, the smart devices, the iPads, the tablets, none of that stuff is actually we don't welcome that here.
Nice. Good old fashioned camp.
Yep, good old fashioned camp.
Wonderful.
So it's been working out. We start at 8:30 in the morning and we're done at 3:30 in the afternoon. And the registration, we know that persons register their children. And we know that some of them will be starting at a later date because they're in other camps or vacation Bible school right now. But I must say, so far for the first time, it's been overwhelming. We had a 1 week setback, but thank God we got that sorted out, and everything is working out well.
Wow. All right. I'm going to pop by one day.
Yes.
And say hi to everyone.
Sure.
And maybe do a little video to show folks what you got going on.
Exactly. Appreciate it. And again, thank you to you keeping us relevant, getting the word out there and current. And for the parents subscribing and buying in and trusting me with their kids. And we're all one family here. And definitely by the end of this, I'm quite sure next year we would have already ironed out all the kinks. You can't stop us then.
Wonderful. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful
day. Have a good day.
Okay,
thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And that's what it's all about, folks, right here on The Cold Hard Truth. We give it to you in real time. So Miss Janet says, you're an amazing minister, Sabrina. Parents and students appreciate all that you do. Keep up the good work. Damien shares his gratitude. He says, a remarkable, hardworking woman. Good morning to Miss Evelyn. It's actually afternoon in Europe where she's at. Barbara is wishing everyone a wonderful day. Good morning, Miss Joy, Felicia, Alice. Everton says that caviar is not even that expensive. Must be gold or diamond French fries. Must have made out of gold or diamond. So there are pieces of gold, I guess gold leaf or whatever, on those French fries, honey child. Good morning, Miss Debbie. He says he doesn't believe there's such a thing as $200 for some French fries. It's got to be fake news. Well, you know me, I got to look it up because I don't believe it unless I can see it and I can research it. And sure enough, it's a restaurant in New York. And these fries, it's a restaurant called Serendipity 3 on Manhattan's Upper East Side. And they have the world's most expensive fries known as La Creme de la Creme, something frites, pommes frites. So, they got to put a fancy name with that to make you want to pay that kind of money. Champagne, truffles, real edible gold dust. And listen to this. This is funny.
Good morning, I'm Rachel Martin. How much would you pay for French fries? What about really fancy fries? $200? That's what you'll spend at a restaurant called Serendipity 3 on Manhattan's Upper East Side. It's home to the world's most expensive fries, known as the creme de la creme pomme frite. Instead of the usual vat of frying oil and sea salt, these fries are made with champagne and truffles before they are topped with real edible gold dust. I'm sticking with the drive-thru. It's Morning Edition.
And now more from NPR.
Yeah, when you know how incredibly unhealthy French fries are for you, you better just stick with the drive-thru. All right, let me see if I can get a picture of these fries. Yeah, they don't look like $200 fries, I got to tell you. Now, of course, I haven't tasted them, so I can't say, but Nah, no, I'm not paying $200 for those. No. Sorry, definitely not. I'm not even paying $50 for those fries. At the most, I would pay $25 for those. The truffle makes a big difference, though. I love truffle mac and cheese, truffle French fries. That's delicious. It adds a little something extra, but $200? Oh, hell to the no. That's like, how many? What can I get on Amazon for $200 with Amazon Prime Day? That's what I'm thinking right now. Check them out. Check out the French fries. Nope. Not worth $200 to me. Jonathan says that he's dropped $45 on some fries before in Vegas, and they were worth it. Well, they better be a lot more than this. The other thing is, when you go to these super fancy restaurants, they don't give you a whole lot of food. Tanique says she's spending $200 at the supermarket. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, look. You don't even have $200 worth of fries on this plate, child. It's like you gotta give me more than that now. Come on, make it a meal. Like when I walk away from this, I shouldn't have to eat anything else. Like that's gonna last me 3 days. That's 3-4 days worth of eating out in New York, probably. I don't know though. New York is pretty expensive, y'all. So it looks like they've got some kind of dipping sauce with these fries. I wonder what the sauce is. Maybe it's a truffle sauce. And you know, the sauce can make all the world of difference. Can I just tell you? Yes. Who doesn't like a good French fry every once in a while? But $200, no, thank you. I just don't see it. The picture, no. But I could be a food tester for them if they're looking for somebody to do that for free. I'd be more than happy to. I'm one of those people that I would actually be an excellent secret shopper, food taster. You know, give you do reviews, give you feedback on how it's tasting. Miss Donna says I'd be happy to come and do silver thatch one day with the kids. So Sabrina, if you still need some activities for your children, Miss Donna is happy to come and do a silver thatch activity. So as you guys know, Miss Donna Bryan is very well versed at thatching. She's on my interview list that I've got to interview because yeah, she's got the fingers, she's got the skills. Damien is wondering, is it cooked in goose fat? That sounds even worse. Oh my God. Yeah, it doesn't really sound all that. French fries with champagne. I'm trying to, what do they do with the champagne? Are the fries cooked in it? Is it in the sauce? How does the champagne get worked in? I need some details on this. Like, I feel like if I go to New York, they won a Guinness World Record for being the most expensive fries. Today is National French Fry Day, so go and have a $5 order fries on me. Pommes frites. Okay, I hear him there. $200 per portion. Lord, I just can't get over it. So chipper beck potatoes, I guess are high quality potatoes. They're cooked 3 times. Oh, here we go. More details. Cooked 3 times in pure goose fat. Anybody else thinks that sounds a little bit gross? Goose fat? 3 times? That means that they got tons of extra cholesterol. So you get $200 worth of cholesterol here. Heart attack waiting to happen. Pure goose fat, which comes directly from Southwest France. Oh, here we go. Now we're understanding why it's so expensive. They go all out on the ingredients. So they send that goose fat all the way from those geese in Southwest France, honey child. Extra flavor twist. The potatoes are also blanched in Dom Perignon. Oh, champagne. That's what they do with it. Okay. And then they do 2 different types of champagne, apparently. They do a French champagne, some kind of vinegar champagne. And then they put rare toppings on it. Shaved, what the heck is this? Shaved crate sensi. I don't speak any of these language. pecorino tortufello. That sounds like maybe that's Italian. And black summer truffles from Italy. Now, truffles can be expensive. From Italy, top the fries, which are also seasoned with another truffle salt. Grande truffle salt. Grande, I don't know. Fries are served with a crystal something plate. Are you playing for the plate as well? And they come with Mornay sauce made from Uter's cream, black truffle butter, Gruyere truffled Swiss. Oh my God. It sounds like a lot. And then it's sprinkled with 23 karat edible gold dust. And you have to actually request them 48 hours in advance. Wow. You think these people are open? Like, can we call them and be like, can you just show us right now somebody who's making this? Serendipity 3. What a mess. Well, if you guys are in New York, go check it out. They say that they have a legendary menu. Apparently, they're on East 60th Street in New York, New York. Nueva York. Wow. Sounds a little bit crazy. All right. Let me see here. Everton says the Upper East Side in Manhattan. You've got to be rich to live in that area. I used to live in the Bronx, so I know that Manhattan is the most expensive place in New York. Yes, child, they put you in a little shoebox, and you pay $5,000 a month for the shoebox. So Tanique says, I soak potatoes in cold water before frying them. Really? Does that make them crispier? Like, what does that do? I don't cook potatoes. Like, I don't cook French fries. I don't think I've ever made French fries in my life because I try. There's certain dishes that I just try not to even cook because I know how unhealthy they are for you. So I don't make French fries. I'll do other potato dishes, but I actually don't make French fries. Mind you, I've been trying to take out that fryer. What's it called? The air fryer. So maybe I'll do a batch of fries when I do my air fryer. But yeah, I try not to eat out as much if I can help it. And then, if I'm eating at home, I'm trying to do like more kind of home cooked traditional meals and not all the fatty stuff. So Jonathan says it was about that much fries on the plate too. It had the gold dust and cooked in duck fat, the whole 9. So for $45, it was winning. Good morning, Carol. It says the best thing to cook potatoes in is goose fat. And the fat doesn't really the fat doesn't really down into chemicals when hot like vegetable oil does. Goose fat. Do we have goose fat available in our stores? I find it's harder and harder to get certain things at the grocery store these days. Everton, you're right. It is a special order. Good morning, Miss Morna says she'd take that $200 and go to Walmart and shop till she drops. Ooh, honey child. But I got to be honest with you, $200 doesn't go as far in Walmart anymore. I don't know if y'all been shopping in the States lately and everybody's complaining about the price of everything came in, but child, when I went to the United States of America the other day, $200 didn't go far in Walmart. You got to really be bargain shopping. So right now, everyone's trying to compete with Apple Prime Day. Good luck, because Amazon, sorry. Like I tell people, Amazon has everything. If Amazon doesn't have it, then you just don't need it. Everton says that has too many ingredients for him. Damien says give him KFC fries any day. You know what fries I like when I'm going to splurge? I actually like Popeye fries. Those, are they like Cajun fries or something? Louisiana fries? I don't know what the proper description is, but they're good. They're like seasoned. Marshall wants to know whatever happened to the Charles and Tracy case. As far as I know, Charles is still in court with that. And I think maybe a month or so ago, he had a case management hearing. I heard that he had applied for legal aid and they had turned him down. So I guess, we'll hear more as it comes closer to an actual trial. A doctor who listens to the program said that they should give you a voucher for the cardiologist after you eat those French fries. Trust me, you eat those once in a while. That's not an everyday something now. You can't be spending $200 even once a year. Like maybe if you won the lottery, there are probably certain things that you should do in life if you won the lottery. But it depends on how much money you win now, because a couple $1 million ain't no money no more. But maybe if you won a good chunk of money, you try these fries to be able to say to your grandkids one day, I had $200 fries when I went to New York. Lizette says, good job, Miss Sabrina. I'm so thankful for what you're doing with the summer camp. Jonathan says you can get them in the restaurant Fix in the Bellagio. It's awesome. Thank you, Carol. Yeah, I was a little bit confused. So she says it doesn't break down into chemicals when you use it like vegetable oil. Oh, and I have to wonder how expensive this duck fat is. How do they get duck fat? Do they actually have to kill the duck to get the duck fat? I guess, right? I gotta be honest with you. I love a good Peking duck. Yes. Speaking of Peking duck, I heard something the other day that I needed to confirm about a restaurant closing down. I'm gonna confirm this. Somebody told me this. I can't remember who it was, but somebody said, oh, this restaurant's closed. I was like, no, that's where I get my Peking duck from. Yes, those Louisiana Popeye fries, honey child. Lulu says 48 hours advance notice. Look how annoyed people were when the Ritz needed 24-hour notice to prepare their tea parties. But you got to appreciate that. Maybe today, I don't know, on National French Fry Day, if a lot of people decide that they're going to get all sorts of, they're going to treat themselves to expensive fries. So they got to make sure they have enough ingredients on hand. And those ingredients probably right now are not easy to get. Ooh, Sue having some flashbacks. She says, Goose Fat cooks the best roasties. Buy it here on Kirk's. What are roasties? This is an English term, obviously. I have no clue what roasties are. I've never even heard that term used like that before. Is that a piece of, is it roast beef? Is it, what is a roasty? Help me out, Miss Sue. Lulu says, nope, she ain't spending no $200. Good morning to Brother Tommy. Thank you for joining us. Apparently you can get goose oil, fat, whatever, $9 at Kirk's. Okay. Interesting. Tina says that I should try Walk and Roll's Peking duck. I love Peking duck, but Tina, I actually haven't had it from Walk and Roll, but I go there all the time, so maybe I will. All right, Camille, good morning. Oh, roasties or roast potatoes? I hear you there, trying to confuse me. Some y'all English people be throwing these terms out there. I'm like, what the hell are roasties? All right, so listen, let's read some comments from yesterday's show. And then we're going to get into, we've talked enough about food this morning. Some days I could sit here and talk about nothing but food. Y'all know that already. But we got other things that we want to talk about. Speaking of which, don't forget now here in CMR, we got a bucket list of things that we need to do. Top 3 for 2022. And I'm very cognizant that we're in July of 2022. And we've not kicked off any of these really yet. But number 1, our food show. We're actually going to do a cooking show where we come in your kitchen and you cook like your favorite meal. And the idea behind the cooking show is, yes, we love to eat and cook and whatever, but really it's about a conversation that we're going to have with the person who is preparing the meal and talk about you and your life and why you love cooking and why you're cooking this particular dish and all this fun stuff. So if anybody's interested in that, link me. And then, of course, we're still doing we were initially going to call it Cayman Icons, and then we've changed it to Cayman Voices, right? Because I think people were kind of confusing what the word icon meant in the context that we were trying to use it. And so this is really older people in the community, 90s, 80s, 70s, 60s, who have an interesting story to tell. And I think so many stories are interesting. So if you have an elderly person, and I know the older they get, sometimes their memory starts to go. So we want to start interviewing some of these people ASAP. Seamen, Mr. Bernard Watler. The other day, I went to an event at the Emsley Memorial Church. They celebrated their 100th anniversary of like their structure. And it was amazing. I was able to go to the service, and a big shout out to Kenneth Bryan. He was the only MP that was there, and we had a good time. And then they had a little like snack thing afterwards, a little social in the hall. And some of the older heads started to talk about their recollection of memories at the church. So my uncle was talking about, the ringing of the bell, and he had a really scary situation with someone being deceased and put in the casket in the church, and he wasn't expecting when he ran in there to see them. I can only imagine what that must have been like. So yeah, those are the types of stories that I love to hear as part of our collective history as a community. And I know that you guys love to hear them as well. And we're trying to capture those. So we've done a few of those already. We're actually looking for a sponsor. So, any of you entities that wish to sponsor some of these segments, do reach out to me as well. Everton says, maybe I would spend $200 on some French fries if I'm taking a date out and I want to impress her. No, you wouldn't, Shell, because then you're setting expectations way too high. She's gonna be like, "Ooh, he's got money, and he's gonna be taking me out for $200 French fries all the time." I think early in relationships, we all try to impress people, but I think when you try to impress people with money, you got to be careful. This is how you end up a 90-day fiance, child. And you become that guy who the Russian girl thought was a millionaire because he kept sending her money in Russia and telling her he had all this money. And then when she comes to the United States of America, or she goes to the United States of America, she finds out that he's living in his mom's basement and has all this student debt and has no money. And then, yeah, that's not a good thing. All right. A big concert coming up this weekend as well. We're going to talk about that. We might actually get to interview one of the celebrities, one of the artists. Ooh la la. Okay. So let me just tell you guys some of the comments that came in yesterday. I had a chuckle at some of these. So this person said, they said, good God, your studio was on fire this morning. Surprised the FD meaning the fire department, was not called out. And they put a little fire emoji. This other person says, girl, I was dying to pee and almost peed on myself because I did not want to leave the show and miss anything. Netflix ain't got S on you. Can't wait for the anon button so I can say what I really want to say, especially when McBeater wrote in, hurry that up your hair. So, oh, Jesus. Y'all just so naughty. Let me say this about oh, Jesus, take the wheel. Let me just say this. Oh, yes, our new board is, maybe it's in Cayman. It might be here today. I'm not sure yet if I can get it. Oh. So, so anyway, we have a new board coming. It's an upgrade to the one that we have. And essentially what that board means is, I know a lot of y'all want to call in, but you don't want people to know it's you. So here you know. That board has an option to give you privacy by changing your voice. Now, of course, you've got to, you've got to let me know that you need that done. So I'm thinking what you do is, because obviously I don't have no person in the back answering the calls where you can say, yeah, put me on, I want to be anonymous. You probably need to like maybe WhatsApp first and then let me know. So yeah, we need to figure out how you tell me that you need to be anonymous, because child, I think that's going to take the show to a totally different level. Because I know some of y'all work for government and all these other entities, and yeah, you want your voice changed so you can have you can have a lot to say. Yeah. Can't wait for it. So the board might actually be on island. It might actually be on island today. I mean, I might actually get it today. And then it takes a little bit of setup because I've got to figure out all these buttons and how to program this, that, and the next thing. And then I think I need to test it to make sure it all works from the radio end and stuff as well. So that, Damien says, that's when the shit's going to hit the fan. Woo-hoo! Party time. I mean, honestly, isn't it? To me, it's amazing. I mean, because I know a lot of people are afraid. So I'm like, I'm all here for it. You know, y'all need to stop being afraid. And I wish we didn't even have to do that. But I get it. I understand. So take advantage of it. Of course, we want you to be responsible now. Don't be defaming people and all this kind of stuff, but y'all speak your truth. Everton says, then you see, laughing out loud, money can't buy love and money can't buy happiness. Yes, money can buy a lot, but it definitely can't buy you love, but it can buy you somebody's arms to roll around with for a little bit. So the most interesting thing, I think, about yesterday's show, yes, we dropped a lot of truth bombs. And let me finish reading these comments. And then there's a couple things that I didn't really get into that I do want to mention. So somebody said to me yesterday, they started messaging me about, this situation with, I was talking about these child molesters. And I noticed that some of you picked up on, I think there were some PPM defenders here with their slackness about, oh, well, everybody cheats on their spouse. Okay, if y'all say so. I know it's pretty widespread in Cayman, if we were to be honest about it. I don't think everybody cheats on their spouse, but I get it. We live in a very slack community that y'all are one-day Christians. Y'all only go to church on Sundays to pretend, and the rest of the week you're fornicating and committing adultery and beating your wives and everything else. Now, I'm not here to be your morality police. Y'all know this already, right? As an adult, I actually don't care what you do with your time as long as you are not hurting other people. And so my primary concern is the people who can't really defend themselves, being children, the elderly, and animals. That's when you really get under my skin, is when you abuse any of those. If it's you and another consenting adult and y'all are into, I don't know, tying each other up, whipping each other with some chains and whatever, and you're not actually, hurting that person's okay with a little, what's it called? S&M? Is that what it's called? Whatever. You're free to do what you want. I'm not here to tell you what to do in your private life like that. And I know some of y'all are freaky. And you sometimes you don't want to be freaky with the person that you're married to, evidently. So that's neither here nor there for me. I know sometimes we're like, oh, jeez. The only thing that I have to say about it with politicians is because they pretend to be something that they're not. That's where the cheating for me is duplicitous, right? Because they'd be the first ones up in church. Hallelujah, praise the Lord. And then they're texting their side pieces about, oh, church don't finish. When can I come and see you? And they want to pretend like they're the epitome of, I don't know, sitting next to Jesus on the right hand. It's the lie for me. It's not even necessarily the act. It is the lie. If you're going to be who you are, then just be who you are. And I think that a lot of women, unfortunately, once you've hit a certain level, like politically or whatever, they just sit back and allow this bad behavior, because some of them come from a different generation where back in the day, this was acceptable. Like, you never left your husband no matter what he did you. So he could abuse you physically, he could cheat on you, whatever, and you just stayed, and you were the dutiful wife who still folded his underwear without putting some hot sauce in it every time he cheated, right? So there's a generational gap, I think. And then some people just have a personality. And I think that narcissists and cheaters, they kind of know, too, who to target as a wife. Like, none of them would want me as wifey material. Because, child, when I was finished with you, So they pick people who are a bit more docile, and they can get away with a lot with those individuals. And I see the personality types, and sometimes I look at them and I'm like, they even stand behind the husbands. It's just so weird to me. I'm like, do you not have a voice for yourself? Do you not have an opinion? The husband is just like, he's running the show, he does everything, and she's just there raising his children while he's out there with everything that, like I said, has two legs, man, woman, everything in between. So someone messaged me yesterday, said, Sandy, the funny thing about it is this person didn't even listen to all of my show. So they didn't hear when I was talking about the progressives having certain people that are well-known molesters in their midst. And this person brings up the story. The exact same, these people are well-known for molesting children. Everybody know the history. And I said, damn. I said, did you listen to the show? And they said, no. I said, but I was talking about these same people on the show this morning. It is, like I said, the worst kept secret. Everybody knows about it. And you know what is even more disturbing? Because I have no expectations of politicians, right? Some of them are the lowest of the low. Let me just be very frank and honest. They would sell their mother down the river for a piece of cheese. And they probably have a dairy allergy. That's just how some of them are. They're just narcissistic, slimy, do anything for power, not loyal in the least bit. So I don't necessarily have very high expectations of politicians. I got to be honest with you, generally speaking. But it's one thing for them to put these people up for political office. It's a whole nother thing for the people of the Cayman Islands to continue to vote for them. This is where I have a bone to pick with you all, the voters. Because y'all know the stories. I'm not sitting here like a crazy person speaking about something that you all do not know about. You all know who I'm talking about. Too many boys in Georgetown have been victims, and they have talked it over and over and over again. I mean, the handful that have come out to me and talked about how they were molested, how they were victimized, and the whole way in which it was done. And so here you are, a voter in Georgetown, and you are casting your vote for individuals of this caliber. How do y'all do it? It's a good thing I don't vote in Georgetown, honey child, because I wouldn't even go to the polls. But mind you, y'all had better options. It's not that, well, let me think, who was running in that district? Well, anybody's better than a freaking child molester, to be honest. So, even if you don't think you have the best option, nah. Anybody's better than child molester. I don't care. I don't want to hear no excuses. Yeah. I'm so sick of it, to be honest. No, sir. Good morning to Kimmy. Jonathan says, I hope the accent isn't too thick because the voice thing can be hard to understand. Yeah, we got to try it out because I don't know yet. So we'll see. It's definitely not, it'll be a distortion of the voice. It's not really an accent per se. Last week, somebody said to me, the show that I was doing where I was talking about Frank and his alleged drunken accident. Someone said I was speaking really fast on that show and they couldn't understand me. I was like, what? Y'all can't understand me? Obviously not a Caymanian that said it, but I thought, I mean, I think that even when I start to sound a little bit Caymanian-ish, there's that American thing that's always there because I spent 15 years in the States. So I don't know. Is there ever a time that you guys can't understand me? Morning, Anthony. He says, just keep my sound effects in check with the new board, honey child. Oh, I'm actually going to be adding new ones because I have a lot that I hadn't programmed into this board yet. So when I get the new board, I'm going to take my time and I'm going to program all of them because I have a mic drop. I got everything. So I'm going to program all that. And in fact, Anthony, I've got some new ones to go with the Bobo theme, the parrot. So I had a guy voice over some parrot stuff for me that you're going to love. Catherine says there's a safety word that should be used in sex games. Catherine, you sound like you're into it, girl. Like I said, once it's consenting, I know business. I know business, child. But yes, I think people do that. I've heard of that before. Or you say like, I don't know, water or something you wouldn't ordinarily say. So the person knows to ease up on it. Oh, Jonathan says the baddest of the bad girls club is in church. Hallelujah. Hear him now. Everton says, what the hot sauce do you? I never heard that one before. That's a good one. Yeah. Miss Sue says, so true. Seen this so many times. Hot sauce in the draws, says Anthony. Talk about hot for you. KK is having a good laugh. Woo! Damien says somebody's going to get blown up soon with hot sauce. Listen, you never swear for nobody when it comes to cheating, you know. No, sir. Because anybody is, I feel like anybody is capable. It's a choice that people make when they're in relationships to be monogamous. And I mean, there is a whole argument. Let me be very, very clear. There's a whole argument that human beings are not meant to be lifelong monogamous beings. And I think there's could be some real research for it. For you to be with the same person for 50 years, not even birds do that. They're very limited creatures in the world who remain anonymous, and oh God, who remain. Why can't I? My brain won't tell me the word now. Oh my God. Literally, my brain is saying anonymous, and I know obviously that's not the word. Monogamous. Jeez, I'm peace. What the heck was that? So there are very few creatures in the world who remain monogamous. And some don't even remain monogamous within the same springtime. They're like running around with, it's like birds, you know, they look pretty. And you ever notice that it's the males who oftentimes have to attract the females in the animal kingdom? Like they're the ones with the big, flurry, colorful tails and whatever. The males got to be looking good. In the human race, it's normally the women who have to be sprucing themselves up and looking nice for the men to attract the men, which is kind of interesting. Siobhan says, trust me, Sandy, they're all in denial. KK says, I don't know, Sandy. What? Yes, Damien, boys in Georgetown, if y'all don't know this by now, like I said, I am not telling y'all anything new. Abuse has been rampant in this community for a really long time. And unfortunately, nobody is spared from abuse, boys, girls, men, women. And yes, some abusers have a preference for boys. Really, really sad. And to me, it doesn't matter. Like I've heard people try to justify like, oh, it's worse if a little boy gets molested. I was like, what? I'm like, it's no worse. It's the same, just as bad. And I don't know why, because there is a misconception about boys being molested that, oh, he's going to turn out gay if he's molested. Well, I know a few gay men who were molested, but I also know a lot of gay men who've never been molested by anybody. I mean, that doesn't have necessarily anything to do with it. I don't know for those specific individuals, whether that was, you know, I mean, I don't know what the research says specifically in that, but I do know that in the Caribbean, we have this misconception that somehow it's far worse for a little boy to be molested than a girl. And that's one of the things that we need to get over. It's horrific when any child is molested, boy or girl, it doesn't matter. But you know, we treat boys differently. And then with little boys, if it's a woman doing the molesting, which happens, we seem to be okay with that because we're like, oh, well, he's 10 or 12, but that's okay. She's just going to make him into a man. I was like, really? Ugh, disgusting. Miss Sue says, understand you perfectly all the time. Thank you, Miss Sue. Anthony says, sound good. Bring them on. Praise the Lord. Lucille, good morning. She says, you look much calmer this morning, child. Don't get me worked up now. God bless. Has the lady yesterday said you was killing her? I had to laugh out loud. You see, doing the same thing to me, Sandy. My mouth is big and I do not care who like it. I don't eat or wear like I love the show. You can pick me up at any time when it comes and it will be no hard feelings. as help to Jared, for me, love you all at home. So here were some other comments that came in. One person said, I'm still trying to pin the corruption and the MP from this morning, like pin the donkey, pin the corruption. You had a machine gun fire moment this morning when I was dying and you kept coming. I was like, damn, she knows all the dirt. I'm impressed you wait for the facts before vetting must occur. Well, you know what is so funny is I actually don't know all the dirt, but I know enough to know the people who live in glass houses just need to sit down with their naked selves in their glass houses. Yeah, I know enough. And imagine there's so much more dirt out there in these guys. Oh, Lord. This person goes to say, you keep everyone honest. As an outsider perspective, Minister Bryan made a mistake, but Minister McTaggart overreacted, which I think was in very poor form. This is at worst a slap on the wrist moment. The guy is talking about his wife. We all know that how that goes at home if he does not help her. The only minister, not during election time, whoever calls to help a constituent is in need is Minister Bryan. Obviously, everyone sells their soul to some degree in politics, but I believe Kenneth has proven himself to actually care about the people from Cayman. I find him to be very personable and honest in all of my interactions with him. And then somebody goes on to ask about a potential conflict of interest with Dwayne Seymour. So, these are the things that we were getting by way of commentary after yesterday's show. Very, very interesting. I always find it interesting, and I appreciate my expat friends who send their comments in, because I do take on board, as that person said, they're not a voter, they're not a Caymanian, whatever, but they listen to the show every morning and they have a certain perspective. And I like hearing other people's perspective, even as a non-Caymanian, I like to hear what people have to say. So thank you for sharing those comments. But yeah, some of them made me chuckle, especially the ones who were like, I had to go to the bathroom and I couldn't make it because I didn't want to miss a moment. Oh, take the phone with you, child. So one of the other things that you can do, folks, is you can call into the program via WhatsApp. So I know some of you know this already. So even with the current board that we have, we can just plug in the phone. The new one will be even easier, but it has like Bluetooth and you can plug it in. So we have the phone plugged in. 936-2626 is the regular phone number, but you can call on WhatsApp as well, which, if you don't have credit or whatever, you're overseas, that's a cheaper alternative for you. Now, here's the thing that I do want to mention. Remember the other day we had, I think it was Monday's show, we had like 5 callers on the line at one time, and they were all, listen, big shout out to them. They were all respectful of each other. They paused and they gave everybody an opportunity to speak. People weren't really talking over each other. It was a good synergy. So I don't know how many calls. I thought it was like 3-way calling, but I guess 3-way no longer exists. Is El Ray listening to the program this morning? Anybody from Flow listening? How many people can you have on a call at any given time? So, we went up to 5. My husband seems to think that maybe you could go up to 10. I don't really know. He's like, yeah, you can do a number. I'm like, so it's not 3-way? I don't know what it is. 10-way? But if you call on WhatsApp and we have other callers, because straight calls on a phone take priority over VoIP calls, over things like WhatsApp and Skype and whatever. So we couldn't join a WhatsApp call with straight line calls. So that's the only thing I want you guys to keep in mind as you're thinking about potentially calling via WhatsApp, is if it's a hot topic and we have other people listening in or wanting to call in at the same time as you, their regular line calls would take priority over the WhatsApp calls. Everton says, who doesn't like a little bit of freakiness in their life? Well, listen, I'm all for it. Be as freaky as you want to be, as long as it's not being freaky with anybody underage. Yeah. Once they know what they're in for and they sign up for it, then get your freakiness on. KK says he sells himself also. Check the bums in town who need money. Pay your way, kiss my teeth. Maybe we need to have a conversation offline, KK, so I can fully understand that one. Y'all would be surprised. Gay Pride Week was last month, by the way. They're having their parade at the end of this month. And yes, they will be on the program. They will be telling you all about it. And if you're interested in supporting the LGBTQ plus community, you can. And if you're not, then keep it moving. Y'all know that I'm a supporter of the LGBTQ plus community. I think that they need to be who they are. And if they're LGBTQ plus or whatever, then that's their business. I don't judge them, because that really isn't my place. Again, if it's a consenting situation, then good for them. And I don't think that I can dictate who somebody loves. So I can't tell you fall in love with a Caymanian. I can't tell you fall in love with somebody from East End or a Jamaican or Honduran or whatever. That's your business. Now, I'm not one to, I'll tell you that I'm not in favor of these marriages of convenience, because they don't benefit us as a people when people are just using you to be able to stay in this country. And 99% of those people don't offer anything of merit to this country. That's the saddest part, really, right? They don't make a contribution. In fact, they end up tearing the country down with their shenanigans and their lifestyle. But I'm not here to tell people who they should love. And I know that in this community, the LGBTQ plus community has a really, really difficult time being who they are. And every single one of us has somebody in our family that falls on the spectrum of LGBTQ. And for the most part within families, people are relatively accepting. Some of y'all still trying to hide in the closet because you don't want your mama to know that you got a boyfriend. Okay. But I feel like, a lot of us have been accepting like on a one-on-one level, but when it comes to like the bigger issue, like nobody wants to admit that they're a supporter of the LGBTQ community if they're not part of the community. I'm not a member of that community, so I'm not LGBTQ. Y'all know what I've said before. I'm strictly, you know what. But that doesn't have anything to do with my support of the community. I support them because they are our brothers and sisters. They are our family members. And I think there's a lot of misinformation about being LGBTQ that needs to be, just clarified. It's a lot of ignorance, and from ignorance comes hate. And I'm not about that life. So I know some of y'all don't like that. You're like, oh, Sandy, I love you, but I don't like, and I'm like, good. You don't have to like it. I mean, you don't have to like everything about everybody. That's okay. And if you don't like the fact that I support that community, that's your business. It really has no bearing on me one way or the other, to be honest. I know some of y'all be trying to throw your Bibles at me. And I'm like, throw it back at your damn self. Ask yourself why you got so many children by so many different women. Isn't that a sin in the Bible too? Because y'all want to pick apart your sins. So they have their parade coming up the end of the month. I think we're going to get some information on that. Speaking of people who have so many children, Elon Musk has 10 children now. What the hell? I got to talk about him later on. This dude, he's so weird. Like, I know he has a lot of money, and so he gets a pass for what would be considered very unusual behavior otherwise. But I'm one of those people where I'm like, I don't care how much money you have. If you're just strange and you probably need a good therapist, then sort yourself out because you can afford it. You can afford therapy. There's no reason for you to be so, I don't know what's wrong with him. Anthony says, do you need to change the pods in your earbuds? You keep fiddling with them. No, you know what it is, Anthony? They just don't stay in very well. So I guess the little tips, they fall out. So maybe I need like another, they do come with the tips on the end, but yeah, they do fall out a lot. I think I need to get some new ones. Maybe I'll look on Amazon Prime and see what I can get for Prime Day. Because there's some that go behind the ear, Anthony, and then you hook them in and they stay in a little bit better. But I think because these I use like this, they're always being pulled on in the front, and so they kind of fall out. But he also says that sometimes you have to mismatch your ear pods. Yes, because your ears, like everything else in your body, can be like different sizes. But I do fiddle with them a lot because I feel like they're always falling out. And here's the weird thing, Anthony. I don't actually need them at all because I don't really need to hear myself. But since I've been using them, I've gotten used to hearing myself. So now I do want to hear myself because I can hear myself like through the board. But there's nobody else in the studio and I don't have anybody online. So technically, until somebody else is talking to me, I don't necessarily even need them. But now it's kind of like a habit. And let me not use them for a minute. And yes, you're noticing that I'm oftentimes fiddling with them. All right, that message to go with your WhatsApp text. Oh. So Damien says, so true, Sandra, through ignorance comes hate. And, ignorance about everything. Like when you're ignorant about cultures, like people come here, they're ignorant about the Caymanian culture. And so that ignorance leads to them having preconceived notions about Caymanians that isn't true. And so, sometimes they don't like us because they think of us in a certain light, or they're just prejudiced. Yeah, it feels weird not having him in now, Anthony. I can't. You see, human beings, we're such creatures of habit, right? So, there's the longest time when I didn't use headsets, and now that I've been using them, I've gotten used to them. It's like weird. I can't do without them now. How weird is that? Luis, good morning. Miss Iva says, Sandy, if there was life to live, just as long as you don't bring it around me, only God can judge them. Yeah, and listen, I don't even know what that means when you say bring it around me. Gay people don't go around. In fact, some of the most promiscuous people, y'all straight people. Let's just be honest now. But gay people don't tend to go around flaunting their sexuality in your face, generally speaking. I mean, there's one or two exceptions, and everybody always wants to point out to the most bizarre exception. They just live their lives. I mean, they're not sitting there talking about sex 24/7. They're just like, whatever, like I'm just living my life. So even when people say that, like, don't bring it around me, what does that mean? I've got gay friends and we've never had a conversation. I'm going to put this on. We've never had a conversation about their sexuality or anything of the sort, because I'm not going around just randomly talking to my friends about sex and their sex lives. I don't need to know. I don't care. Jonathan says, congratulations to Elon Musk's new baby mama celebrating early retirement. Oh, he is something else. So apparently he had twins late last year by some woman executive that works for one of his companies. And I guess Jonathan says maybe she was trying to secure that money bag because he is supposed to be a billionaire, although his money seems to fluctuate all over the place. And now he's being sued by Twitter because he's so crazy. He tried to pull out of a deal. And you can't pull out of deals all the time. So I think there was some contingent in there where they're going to be paid, I think $100 million or something, if he pulled out of this $44 billion deal. He seems a little bit unstable to me, though. I gotta be honest with you. Sometimes not even for all the money in the world do you want to have somebody like him in your life. It just isn't going to be worth it. And some of the cheapest people in the world, some of the biggest misers when it comes to like child support and stuff, are the people with the most money. They don't want to be paying you for those babies you just had for them. So I think him and what's the African-American fellow there with all those children? He has a pair with Mariah Carey. What's his name again? Nick Cannon. So I think him and Nick Cannon are right now in a race for who can have the most children. Of course, Nick Cannon doesn't have his kind of money. Nowhere even close to it. So I do worry about the baby mamas with Nick Cannon because he's more likely not to be able to afford to support them. And I think there's something wrong with a woman, legitimately, who meets a Nick Cannon because he's very, one thing about Nick is he tells you the truth, I think, as a woman, because he said it publicly all over the internet and everywhere else. He does not believe in monogamy. And so the same time he's knocking you up and getting you pregnant, some other woman's having a baby for him. So I think about the women, like what woman is like, okay with that? Well, apparently there are women out there who are like, yeah, okay. I just want a baby. And Nick Cannon is as good a father as anybody else. It does make me wonder, but I have so many questions about it. Just like I have questions about Elon Musk. Why does he need 10 children? And sometimes he says stuff that inherently is not true. So he went around talking about how billionaires have, what did he say? Something about billionaires have fewer children than other people or something like that. And that's actually not true. So I feel like he makes stuff up. Like he doesn't always know what it is that he's saying. And he will just make it up, which is weird, right? So just because a rich person says it doesn't mean that you should believe it. Rich people do have children because they can actually afford to have children. The other thing that they do is they adopt. A lot of them will adopt children. So, there's this whole thing now in the US about Roe versus Wade. It's kind of gone crazy. And I don't know what side of the spectrum you guys are on. I'm like, listen, if a woman has, I don't think men, or anybody else should be in the business of telling women what to do with their bodies. This is a real problem. But two things have happened as a result. Number one, men are out there actually getting vasectomies for a change. And I'm like, good. It's about damn time that men started to take responsibility since they're 50% of making a baby. There's been male birth control options out there for a long time, and men just like, oh, no, that's not our problem. We're not going to use them. So apparently there are a lot of men out there now. The level of vasectomies in the last couple of weeks since the Roe versus Wade reversal has gone up. I say good for you. I'm all for it. Get a vasectomy. If you're done having kids, I don't see what the problem is. When you've got 10, you've got 9 too many. Well, 8 too many for most people. So, the likes of Elon Musk, he goes around saying a lot of things, but a lot of people who are anti, based on what they say, religious beliefs, right? They're anti-Roe versus Wade. They're the same people who never adopt children. There's so many unwanted children in the world. And there's so many children who end up in unwanted situations, and they are being abused. They're being killed. I mean, it's just horrific what happens to poor kids all over the world, right? And yet those same people who want to tell you what to do with your body and want to tell you must have a child, even if it's a product of rape and all this other stuff, they're not the ones who are knocking down the doors of agencies to go and adopt a poor, unfortunate child and raise that child. It's just, it's such a contradiction in so many different ways. So Louise says, run the line behind your ears and that works better. I think this particular one really isn't designed in that way, but we'll see, because the new board is different. This has a, so as you can see, I have on a separate headset now, right? So the new board doesn't have a jack in the front of it. It has one in the back. So I'm going to play around with it once I get the new board, Lewis. But yeah, we'll get it figured out. So Kululiko, I don't know if that's your name, says, hi, first time watching you all the way from Swaziland. Let me see. Non-Kululiku. Non-Kulukilu? Non-Kululiku. Is that right? If I butchered your name, I'm sorry. But thank you for watching us. So good to have you here. Jonathan says, no, they just have a parade once a year in the street now. Jonathan, it's all right. You're going to be fine. Susan says, Miss Sue says, I've got gay friends and no way they flaunt it around. They're normal people. Don't use words like normal, because gay people are normal people. Say heterosexual people. And to be honest, I see more flaunting at these New parades and all these other K-masks, and when y'all out there in Carnival, I see more body parts than I do, that I've ever seen from the LGBTQ community. So N.A. Smith says, that's a lie. I know someone who quit their job because she couldn't stand a gay guy constantly graphically telling everyone, including customers, all the married men he sleeps with. But what I'm saying to you is, that's not normal. There's something wrong with that individual. But gay people don't go around doing that sort of stuff. every one in at least 9 or 10 people is an LGBTQ plus person. You think about that. You're in a room of 100 people, 1 in 10, and the vast majority of those people would never tell you what they do in their personal life because, number one, it's nobody's business. So whoever this person is, that is someone who's just looking for attention, N.A. Smith. That has nothing to do with that's how gay people are. I think we just need to be very, very careful when we try to make generalizations about people. And I know that we're all guilty of it on some level, right? But it's like people saying, oh, Caymanians are lazy. Some Caymanians are. But yet the vast majority of Caymanians are some of the hardest working people that I know. So you can't paint people with this like really broad brush, right? Yes, Nick Cannon, Everton. Oh, he's a hot mess. I don't even know what to say. I don't approve of even just because you have a few dollars having all these kids, because what kids need the most in their life is time with parents and investment time. And he's having children for every Jane, Jennifer, and Shaquila over there. And I don't think he has the time because the dude works hard. I must give him credit. At one point, he had about 3 or 4 gigs going at the same time. So he works incredibly hard to try to put, I guess, food on the table for all these children and himself. And the truth of the matter is, how much time does he actually spend with these kids? You know, I don't think it's fair to children to not be able to see a parent and not be able to spend time with them. I don't know. And to me, money doesn't make up for that. You can have all the nannies in the world and whatever. Your kids need you. So Jonathan says, so don't be fruitful and multiply. No, don't be fruitful and multiply. You got to plan these things and think about it. What can you afford? And not just monetarily afford, your time. Oh, Elon Musk is an idiot. Let me just say it for the record, in my opinion. So Jonathan says he can't blame him for not buying Twitter. Listen, he can do certain things, but the problem with Elon Musk is he's very, to me, he is very, like, he fires a little bit too quickly without thinking, I believe. So he probably needed to, if he had some concerns about Twitter, like, you ask those things before you make an offer of $44 million. And then if you renege on the offer, then you have to pay the penalty for backing out of the contract. And a lot of contracts do have that type of clause. Anthony says, exactly. Here you have lawmakers, mostly men, declaring what's best for women, really? Even in this jurisdiction, we have the most women now elected to the LA. So we have, let me think, who are they? Barbara Connolly, Sabrina Turner, Juliana O'Connor Connolly, Kathy Wilkes. Am I missing anybody? 4 women? Is that it? Barbara, Sabrina, Kathy, Juliana. I feel like there's another one. Is there anybody that I'm forgetting? That could be it. So 4 out of how many members? 19? Somebody quick time do some math for me. What percentage of the LA is that of parliament? It's not very many. And the problem with that is population-wise, there are actually more women. I think it's about 60-40% maybe in the population. So even in this country, do you ever ask the question, like, how many of our issues as women really get proper representation? Things like reviewing maternity leave. Listen, I'm not about following everything that people do around the world, but even in some countries around the world now, they're giving people time off each month if a woman needs it because of her cycle. More flex time, more time off to be with your family and to raise your kids. better domestic violence laws on the books and all these types of things that impact largely women. So a lot of our issues don't get as much attention because there are men who simply don't understand. And I'm not trying to be tough on men, but if you're not a woman, you're not a woman. Just like I'm not a man and I don't have a little thing dingling in front of me. There's certain things I probably don't get and I certainly don't understand. Right? So when you live in a male-dominated society and you're a woman, you can see how there are certain things that are impacted because of that, even including legislation. I'm just saying. Everton said, yes, Sandy, I agree with you. That's the same point I was about to make. It's just people are all over the world talking about people should not have abortions and they would not adopt children. There's so many children in the adoption list. And those are the same people that wouldn't adopt any children. And it's unfortunate. Really, really unfortunate. Yeah, so Damien says that's true. If one Caymanian is lazy, they're all the same. Stop stereotyping. So Jonathan says, when can we get a 420 parade? Can I say, Sandy, don't worry, you'll be fine. Oh, I will be. Trust me. Jonathan, I have no issues with you sitting down smoking as much marijuana as you want. That's your business, actually. I don't believe in secondhand smoke in any shape or form. I don't care what you're smoking. You could be smoking a lollipop. Smoking isn't good for you. And I don't want to inhale your smoke from anything. But if you want to sit in your house and smoke pot all day, that's your business. Smoking in public is a very different situation. So I have no qualms about you smoking as much marijuana as you want. You want to smoke yourself to death by all means, as long as it's not impacting other people. It's very, very simple for me, right? So it is what it is. Good morning, Carol. She says exactly. Natasha, flaky. Marshall says you really find straight people talking about sex more than gay people. I'm just saying. Heather, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I knew there was 5. Heather Bodden, oh, my apologies, Heather. Okay, so we got 5 women. Do the percentage. What percentage of that? That's 21%, Damien? So 21% is the representation as women that we're getting in the LA? Now, that's a hot mess. That's nowhere near the population disparity, like 60% women and we get 20% representation? No, sir. Y'all need to start voting for more women and less egos, because one thing about women, they not got that testosterone running through them and making them all crazy and competitive. Some of y'all men the worst when it comes to backstabbing and competitiveness. Miss Sue says, question for you. Are you using Airpost? Does customers use the TIN number from their last order with them, or do we have to apply for a new TIN number? Okay, so it's interesting that you should ask this question, but when you register with them initially, they get you you have to fill out this paperwork for customs, right? Where you say, this person, I'm authorizing this person to bring in stuff on my behalf. You only do that once. So your TIN number is assigned to you per company broker. So like I use FedEx, I had to do one form for FedEx. I use Airpost, I have to do one form for Airpost. That's how it works. But you only do it once. Now, if you're a retailer, I'm trying to remember as a retailer, because I do have a, is that the TIN number for retailers? Is that what it's called? Hold on. Because there is a number that they give you if you're in the retail business. Yes, that's your customs TIN number. So that number is linked to you being a retailer. That has nothing to do with what broker is bringing in your stuff for you. So you just give them the authorization. So I think that, your TIN number remains the same. That's an important question for retailers, because do you guys know that as a retailer, you get a discount, like you pay a different rate of duty because you're reselling it. So they do give you a little break on the duty. And this is important because if you're even coming through the airport, you need to give them your TIN number if the stuff that you're bringing in is for resale. So 26.4%. Thank you, Damien and Siobhan. You're most welcome. Lucille says, this is so true, Sandy. Children need both parents if they're both alive, but some mothers use children as a weapon against their fathers, and this is not good. I don't think children should be used as a weapon in any relationship, like or a pawn. I don't even know if weapon's the right word, but don't involve your children in adult affairs. You know, if you're having an issue with your spouse or ex or baby mama drama, whatever, don't even let your children know, although it's hard because children are very, very intuitive and they pick up on a lot of stuff. But I don't think that you should even allow your children to hear those conversations, right? You're there for your kids and they're your number one priority. And you can say, listen, little Johnny, mommy and daddy, you know, no longer want to be in a relationship with each other. You know, we don't like each other anymore, but that has nothing to do with you. We love you. We both love you. And, you know, I'll be spending time with you. Dad will be spending time with you one-on-one time. Like you gotta be there as a supportive parent, not just to make yourself look good, but champion that for the other parent as well. I think the Kardashians are a little bit interesting, the life that they live. But one thing I must say about them is they really seem to have been raised to be inclusive of the father of their children, even when they're not married, right? They really seem to go out of their way to be like, we have to co-parent. And they've said that they got that example from their own parents. And it took their own parents a while to get there. But eventually, you know, the exes they would play golf with each other. They'd come over to family dinner once a week. Like, it's good for your children to see that type of cohesiveness. Now, poor Khloe Kardashian, I think she's translated that in her brain to putting up with trifling Tristan, who can't keep it in his pants. You know, that she has to be in a relationship with him just because she wants a father for her child. And that can't be the compromise. So you can co-parent and not have that person be in your personal life. But I think you've got to put your kids first. Morning, Debbie. So Ruby says, can you explain why Cayman is closed as an overseas British territory and why don't we get the NHS and UK benefits here with that being the case? Well, we're an overseas territory, but our internal workings, so our internal structure is done by our local government. So the governor really doesn't get involved in those things. And we are not part of the UK in that sense. How best can I explain it, Ruby? So think of it this way. You got your parents, right? When you become an adult, your parents normally kick you out of the house. And they'll always be your parents. And there's certain things they may help you with as your parents, but when it comes to running your own household and paying your own bills and working on your own budget and all that kind of stuff, those are your own matters to deal with. Kind of think of it that way, because the UK is kind of like our mother country. Yes? So there's certain aspects of our domestic affairs that we have to, you know, we make our own money and we have to be responsible as a country and as a government with using our own money. Natasha says that our health services here is by far superior to the NHS. Carol makes the good point that if you want NHS here, you'd have to pay taxes and national insurance. So yeah, those things don't come for free. I'm glad Carol points that out. But yes, there's also cost to those things as well, right? And a lot of people who use like social services and stuff, it's unfortunate that sometimes they don't think about the cost that's associated with it. My aunt always used to say, Ruby, when I lived in the States, my aunt would say, Aunt Lottie, she would say, nothing in America is free. Everything you do, she says, you're walking on the sidewalk, something or somebody had to pay for that sidewalk. And I would think about it. I'm like, She says, that's why you pay taxes at the wazoo. Property tax, sales tax, this tax, that tax. You pay a lot of taxes in the States. And the taxes will offset some of, and it's not everything, but it will offset some of the burden of some of the infrastructure that you get. Over the weekend, I was listening to an interesting show about how cities in the US are put together and how you can become a city. And I'll share the link with you guys. It's a podcast that I was listening to. And it was very, very educational and very, very interesting. So if you have a certain population size, those people can get together and say, we want to form our own city. Because we want to control within this physical area. We want to control our taxes. We want to control how it's spent. And we don't want to be part of this larger community. Now, sometimes there are benefits to being a city, and you got to know what you're doing. City planning isn't something you just jump up and decide that you want to do without any real thought process. But that's a good question, Ruby. You're welcome. She says, thanks, that makes sense. Debbie also points out that there's a long waiting list for NHS. People in the UK die waiting for years to have surgery. And listen, for all of the issues that our system may have, like our healthcare system, waiting for stuff isn't one of them. Like, you can get in and out of a situation medically in this country. Like, you can get appointments pretty quickly. And sometimes, as Debbie says, that can be a matter of life and death. So yes, you pay insurance, and some of us pay a premium price for insurance. But that means, folks, that when you need to see a doctor, you don't have to wait, 5 months to go and get a cavity looked at or whatever. And some of the simplest things can be deadly. I remember reading a couple of years ago about a guy who died from having a cavity, because that's an infection in your mouth. And the sad thing about a cavity is it's in your head. So your mouth makes up all of your entire what's the whole area called? There's a medical term for it, but everything, your sinus cavity, nose, throat, the ENT specialists, they get all into it. And so any sort of infection in your head doesn't have far to travel to your brain. And that's deadly. So in his case, the poor guy waited a long time with this toothache. So literally a toothache killed him. And when he finally went and saw the doctor, they're like, okay, you've got a really bad infection. We're going to give you some antibiotics. He couldn't afford to go buy the antibiotics, and the infection got in his brain and killed him. Simple as that. Antibiotics have been lifesavers. They've saved a lot of people from dying. Let's talk about some Caribbean Connection news. Let's play our news. Big shout out to Kevin. And then we're going to come back and talk about the monkeypox guy, because I got the inside track. We got connections in Jamaica too, honey child. We got the inside track and what that guy was doing. Ruby says, you're incredible. Would love to meet up and have a coffee with you someday. Aw, thank you. Why not? So speaking of that, Ruby, we're going to do it sooner than you think. Waffle Monkey and I, they're one of our sponsors here in CMR. We're actually going to do shows. Is Scott listening? He's always listening. Morning, Scott. We're actually going to do some shows from on location at Waffle Monkey. And you guys can come in, get your coffee. They got great coffee over there. I don't drink coffee, but get your coffee. Get your cold coffee brew. Sit down, have a waffle and chicken or waffle, and they make all kind of amazing food at Waffle Monkeys. And we're actually going to do the show on location from Waffle Monkeys. So you can come in and have a chat and talk about what's on your mind. All right, here's the morning news for you guys.
Hello, I'm Kevin Watler, and this is your CMR Daily Buzz. Approximately $8.4 billion US and 297.8 million euros have been frozen since the Russian sanctions began. The cross-government task force established to coordinate the application of sanctions against Russia within the Cayman Islands has spent the 3 months since its formation working steadily. A goal of the task force is to solidify the Cayman Islands' understanding of its exposure to individuals and entities that are subject to sanctions under the Russian sanctions regime. It has also worked to ensure that relevant agencies are effectively implementing the sanctions. Since March 1st, this has led to the Financial Reporting Authority receiving 801 compliance reporting forms related to Russian sanctions. 2 members of the Cayman Islands Coast Guard are currently training at the Britannia Royal Navy College as part of the Royal Navy's Accelerated Reserve Officers Training Program. Christopher McTaggart and Ariana Wheeler-Siajas are undergoing an intense 9-week course designed for the Royal Naval Reserve. The course also exposes them to the highest standards of basic naval officer training. The Honorable Andre Ebanks, Minister for Investment, Innovation and Social Development, Parliamentary Secretary Heather Bodden, and senior ministry staff visited Cayman Brac on Friday. The group met with the Honorable Juliana O'Connor Connolly, the Minister for District Administration, the District Commissioner Mark Tibbetts, and staff of the District Commission. The 2 ministers and commissioner led a discussion about ongoing and new policy issues relating to social development, with a particular focus on the needs of elderly and vulnerable people in Cayman Brac. The minister noted that the ministry is undertaking an expansion of the Needs Assessment Unit and the Department of Children and Family Services to transform services for their clients in Cayman Brac. The trip included 2 separate site visits. The first was to a potential new location for the Needs Assessment Unit. The second site visit was a tour of the newly constructed building that is designated to accommodate community events in Cayman Brac for older persons and youth. It was a proud moment for Sierra Broadbelt. With a time of 29.03, she placed first out of 8 swimmers at the girls 13 to 14 50-meter fly at the Central American and Caribbean Amateur Swimming Confederation. Congratulations, Sierra. More information on these stories can be found at caymanmallroad.com. Now for your CMR weather update, it's brought to you by WG Charters. Sunrise at 5:55, lots of sunshine is expected. It will heat up to the high 80s, winds east at 10 to 20 miles per hour, then the sun sets at 7:07. When it cools at nighttime, the temperature falls to the low 80s, high tides at 8:38 a.m. and 10:08 p.m., and low tides at 3:32 a.m. and 3:15 p.m. Looking forward, similar weather conditions are expected. It's summertime, so hot days with warm nights with brief, scattered showers always possible as part of the typical summer pattern. CMR weather updates are brought to you by WG Charters. They offer private boat trips for a great price, so we encourage you to support them. That's it for now on the Daily Buzz. Thank you for joining me. Please stay safe and God bless.
All right. Thanks so much, Kevin, for that Daily Buzz, keeping you guys up to date with all the news that's happening right here in the Cayman Islands, around the region, and even a little bit around the world. Let me just see here now. There was something I wanted to show you guys. Okay, by the way, if you've lost a license plate, someone has sent this in to us this morning. The license plate number is, hold on now, let me see. License plate number is 197256. Lost on Frank Sound Road. If that is your license plate number, 197256, do let us know, and we'll see about getting you back your plate. Those plates are expensive to replace, y'all. So trust me, I appreciate when people come forward. Couple weeks ago when we had that little bit of rain, somebody's plate dropped off. Y'all need to make sure you're securing your plates, by the way. So someone's plate dropped off in the Newlands area and they sent it to us. And sure enough, the lady who had the plate was like, hey, I have their plate. So we were able to quickly reunite that person with their plate. So good stuff. And thank you for all the people who are silently listening and who always WhatsApp me whenever I ask a question. They're like, Miss Heather, you forgot Miss Heather. Oh, I'm so sorry. Somebody else was asking how many women actually ran. I can't remember. I'd have to go back and have a look, but I do know that it was a record number of women that have ran. Now, imagine This is a record number that have been elected. 5 women is a record number for a community that has mostly women in it. I do think there's a little bit of an imbalance in the Legislative Assembly for sure. So let's see if we can get that sorted out. So 197256, folks, if that is your license plate, do link me and I can tell you who to contact in order to get your plate back. I'm just checking WhatsApp messages during that break. One person says, good morning. I teach my boys to be responsible and not get themselves in situations that they're stuck in for the rest of their lives. They should take responsibility and only have children when they're ready and with someone with the same mindset. This is extremely important when raising children, and most importantly, when raising boys. Because I think, again, we all want to put the responsibility solely on the shoulders of women. And I can certainly understand to some extent why that's done, but it takes 2 to tango. And young men have to understand that they have a responsibility just as much as the woman when it comes to making a baby, because they can contribute 50%. You can't make a baby, well, at least not yet, without the help of a man and his sperm. So young men need to know what that means for you, young man, honey child, is if you make this baby, you're going to be responsible for the care of this child. 50% of your time, 50% of your money, or 50% of the money needed to take care of this child. And I think if more men and women had these serious conversations with these young men about the real responsibility that comes with having children, maybe they'd be more responsible and not just going out there trying to sow their not so royal oats. I'm always disappointed when I see young man and K-man with like 10 children, 9, 10, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 children. And they're not professionals. They don't have any job where you can say, okay, well, the dude's making like, $10,000 a month. Even with 10 children, that's a bit of a stretch. But at least he can help support them. It's always the people at the lowest end of the financial spectrum who can't afford to have children that want to try and have the most children. I'm like, why? Why? Every single person just about that reaches out to me about somebody in need, and I just got another message just now, ironically. They're like, oh, this mother of 2, 3 children. And then the first question that people are now asking is why you have so many children. Times are tough. Stop procreating because you can't afford it. Ruby, I will do. Jonathan, you're so crazy. Ruby says, our radio listeners, y'all must be wondering what the hell. This is so funny. So Ruby says, you're incredible. Would love to meet up and have a coffee. So Soka is here. She's the grammar police. Ruby, don't take it personal. She's always doing this to me as well. So she's the grammar police, and she said, you apostrophe, you are, the apostrophe version of it, because Ruby just said Y-O-U-R. And sometimes you do that when you're just typing fast. So Ruby says, sticks tongue out at you. There's no emoji for that. And she's asking if I can stick my tongue out at Soka Phillips for her. No. Just ignore it, Ruby. She does it to me all the time. She's always telling me which words I'm mispronouncing. She's like, you're mispronouncing Marshall's name. It's actually Marshall. You're mispronouncing Bermuda. You're saying it with a long O instead of a oo. I mean, don't take it personal, honey child. That's just what she does. And sometimes I notice in the comment section, this was happening yesterday with Mr. McKeeva Bush and Mr. Baliki. People start to fight between each other, and I'm not into it. I do not. Listen, if you guys know one thing about me, I don't like fights, and I don't start fights, but I finish them. So I'm like the cleanup lady, right? I come in, I drop the bomb on you, on the situation, and just stop the argument. And I'm like, okay, fight is done. Y'all go heal your wounds and get over it. But I'm not the fight starter. Not at all. Like, I don't really start fights, but if you bring it to me, I'm going to clean you up now all over the floor. That's a whole different situation. But my aunt taught me, don't go around picking on people and picking fights, because sometimes you don't know what you're getting. So when I see y'all fighting in the comments, a lot of times I just ignore it. I'm that parent where I'm going to be like, the two of you can work it out yourselves. Message each other privately, WhatsApp each other. There's certain things you don't need to fight about in public, and y'all be getting kind of down and dirty, bringing out all your business. And I'm like, remember during the election that happened with Rolston, and his people kept calling in on one show and they were messaging, and I was like, listen, stop it. If you know what's good for you, there's certain things that you just don't say on this program. You just don't bring it out, because once you put it out in the public and you force me to talk about it, then I got to talk about it. And you can't take it back. Like, I think people are so amazing when they think about, oh, I want to out somebody. When you out them, you're also outing yourself. And then sometimes there's no way to put it back in Pandora's box is open. That's it. You can't do anything about it. So I don't know. So Ruby and Soka kiss and make up now. Denver says, good morning, CMR. Was driving customs. Totally BS to have a TN number for every shipping company. But I thought the TN number was your retail number. Hold on now. Let me try and get this from the horse's mouth. I thought your TIN number is like, I don't think do they assign you a separate TN number? Because I've had a TIN number, and I don't even use shipping companies. This was before that. And really it was because that's I forgot what TIN stands for, but that's like your retail number. I think what happens is, Denver, you need to get permission, like explicit permission from each of these companies to bring stuff in on your behalf. Let's talk about that for a second, can we? Because you guys know that a couple days ago, this was actually, I think last week, Wednesday, we heard about it as it was happening, actually. A young man who works for the Cayman Islands government was being handcuffed in the customs warehouse. I've seen footage and everything of this, for importing drugs into this country. And they've since arrested a total of 4 individuals. And it's so sad. Handsome looking little young man. I'm like, what are you doing in the drug business, son? Has a couple of different businesses. So he works for the agriculture department, and he does the inspections, the agricultural inspections for like CBC or whatever. Government job. His name is Jason. What's his last name? Jason March or something. But anyway, he decided to bring in this big container. I've seen the picture of it, and I was like, holy cow. Okay. Jason, hold on. That's not his name. Jordan Marsh. So he has several businesses. And I guess he was trying a little something illegitimate on the side. Now, I need some more information about this, because I don't know where the packages were coming from. But anyway, they were arrested on Thursday. And I understand that one of the drug dogs, I was told it was the little black one, I think they're Labrador mixes, was sniffing it and going, ooh, check it out. Something's in here. He owns a number of companies. He owns a company called Cell Cayman, where I think he does like cell phone and whatever devices. And he also has a shipping company. Now, hear how the story gets a little bit mixed up. Imagine you have a import company, not a shipping company. You have an import company, and you decide to import drugs. That seems a little bit stupid, really. Anyway, I guess he thought he could hide it in between the iPads and stuff that he's bringing in. I don't know. Didn't work out too well for him. So they bring in all these drugs, and let me see here now. They get caught. The dog's like, that smells like ganja. Woof woof. And the police like, oh, we need to check this package. And sure enough, I don't know if this was his first time or this is just his first time getting caught, but ooh, not a good situation. So 4 of them are in custody. But the issue was people who used his shipping company to bring stuff in were now having their goods held up. They were calling me yesterday saying how they were cussing down at where his office is located, trying to get, I forget what the name of his import company is called. It'll come to me later on. But they were down there cussing, trying to get their stuff cleared, because customs has basically confiscated the drugs and whatever else was in that big wrapped up in blue container. There's a picture of it. Did y'all see the picture in the story? So, other people are now being negatively impacted by this. There's the drugs, had it in foil. Is the foil supposed to fool the dogs? Because they have a very good sense of smell. Well, obviously it didn't work. They say a significant amount of vegetable matter believed to be ganja was seized at the Customs Border Control Warehouse last week. Happened on Thursday. So one of their own, an agriculture inspector. So he inspects stuff at that warehouse and other locations. Came in on Wednesday, and then they made the arrest. They got him sitting in handcuffs there in the customs office or customs warehouse. Such a shame. So yes, the K9 units, big shout out to them. They're unsung heroes. They probably only get a little doggy treat for all the good work that they do. But they were very interested in a particular pallet. And that led to further inspection of it. And as a result, several large packages of ganja were recovered. 4 men arrested. I think he is the 30-year-old. And it says that he was arrested in relation to revenue-related offenses and on suspicion of being concerned with importation of ganja. So he's the young man, Jordan, that we're talking about, that owns the import company. Folks, this is why you got to be careful. I know there's a lot of import companies that have popped up all over the place. Everybody wants to, especially during COVID, they were all like, oh, we can be an expert. We can help you bring in your stuff. Be careful, right? Because some of these people are just trying to make a quick buck and they're not doing things the right way. And then you get caught up on it. So now anybody whose stuff was part of this shipment from this company, they can't even get their stuff. And he's telling them, oh, his lawyer is trying to get it sorted out. Your lawyer to have a lot of sorting out to do, child, including trying to keep you out of jail. I'm just saying. Somebody was reminding me, Caymanians are so funny, right? When stuff like this happens, they go back in history like, you remember a video that was circulating with a guy who was trying to break into the Popeyes like at 3:00 in the morning? Sandy, that was him. And I was like, when was this? No, I don't remember that. What a hot mess. So we'll keep you all updated on that. So Jerry says COL assigns 1 TIN ID number per importer. Okay. But normally you don't get that number, right? Because like I said, I have my own TIN number, but that was just me bringing it in. I don't think an importer has ever given me a TIN number. Like I just fill out the paperwork and say, yeah. But how many importers are y'all using? Are you using like 5, 10 different importers? I try to stick with the good ones. So I don't know about anybody else. But I don't know. Good morning to Lavana. How are you? Says good morning, and they like to brag about how many they have and don't support them. I know. I always think it just shows you probably how these kids were raised, right? Because they think having a baby is such a big deal. Most of the world apparently can do that, so it's not really that much of an accomplishment. Miss Brenda says, Sandra, them have to learn to bag them up. And them think them a girls, them sugar. Damien is blaming the women. He says the women just as fool for getting pregnant when they know that they have a tribe and can't support them. Yes, I agree that some of the women are not bright either, but every woman thinks, oh, I'm going to be the one he's going to be different with. Women always do this, right? A man has a reputation for being a woman beater, just as an example. Every woman is like, oh, I'm the one who's going to change him. He's not going to beat me because I'm too pretty. I'm like, child, please. And then it's her turn. She finally gets rid of him. The next one comes. Oh, he was beating her because of this. It's like women find excuses for these men. That's just ridiculous. So it's the same thing. Oh, yeah, he got 5 children already, but mine going to be different. He got to support mine. You should be, listen, if you find a guy with even 1 or 2 children that he's not supporting, you should run like a bat out of hell. Because to me, that says something about a man, that he would have a child with anybody and not support that child. That is not a winner. He's not a keeper. You don't want him in your life. Okay? The sex might be good, but cut it quick. Because when you get pregnant, he might support yours for a little bit, and then you're going to find yourself in the same situation. And I cannot for the world of me respect any woman who encourages a man not to support his kids or not to have anything to do with his kids. That's a whole other situation. Everton says, it's a shame to see some of these young girls up here, beautiful young girls, don't have any skills, hook up with these guys for 5 kids, for 5 different baby fathers, that too. And the condition that they live in, you would not want to get a glass of water if you go to some of these people's homes, because I know I'm an electrical contractor and I have contact with them. A lot of arm big companies that rent properties. It's a shame. It is really, really sad. So yeah, we'll get some clarity in the TIN number, but I don't, I only use 1 or 2 suppliers. I mean shippers, not really suppliers. All right, Soka, give us a little lesson. We know. I'm sure that Ruby just typed it really fast and that's what happened. Jonathan wants to adopt the dog. The dog is a working dog, Jonathan. All right, let's talk about monkeypox man. So monkeypox man in Jamaica escaped on Saturday. You guys know that we had it up. So he's the first known case of monkeypox in Jamaica. Came via the UK, went for a funeral, and Jamaicans, when they go home, they're gonna stay for a couple weeks on a holiday. So we have connections all over the place, including Maypen. So our sources had said, even before he escaped, that when he came into the hospital, he was refusing to tell them where he lived. I was like, because, they want to do contact tracing. Because he did share with them that his daughter had what they thought was the chicken pox. And, monkeypox and chicken pox looks very, very similar. Although I think monkeypox is a little bit worse on the skin. But anyway, he was refusing to say where he lived. And the person was like, they could just have pulled his record from the airport. Upon entry, he would have put where he was going, where he was staying, assuming he told the truth about that. So he was a little bit non-compliant from the very beginning. So here the situation now. He escaped on Saturday afternoon. And then they put out an all points bulletin. Monkeypox man on the loose. The police were called, the whole 9 yards. And so he was captured. He actually had somebody pick him up. He had it planned, honey chow. So I guess he had, I don't know, a phone, and he was messaging people. And he had the whole thing planned. Somebody came and picked him up from the hospital, and he went about his business. So they caught him a couple hours after the fact. Some woman he went to see. And then, the police were like, listen, now you're going to be under, because he escaped through a window. And they're like, okay. So now we're going to have police stationed at your hotel room, because they have to incubate you. Monkeypox has an incubation period. I want to say it's up to 15 days or something. It's a long period as these things go. It's not no week like COVID, honey child. And so, yes, they need to keep him quarantined so he doesn't spread it to anybody else. So when he escaped out the window, he went and told the newspaper in Jamaica. It's a incubation period of between 5 and 21 days. I don't know if he planned to stay in Jamaica that long, but he then went and escaped, right? And after everybody's like, this is so irresponsible. How could you do this? This is just wrong. So the dude comes up with an alternative fact story. People like to just make shit up. So all of a sudden he's like, no, the police are reporting it wrong. I didn't escape out the window. I just told the doctor I was leaving. Chat, please. You're going to go and tell the doctor you're leaving, and they're going to be like, oh, yes, we'll see you later then. Or here's what my sources in Jamaica said. Like I said, I'm getting it straight from the source. So he, again, is claiming that the media is lying. Not that the media is lying, but the police are lying to the media, and the health authorities are lying to the media about what happened. And this was a big deal. They were like, listen, we need to find him ASAP, because he's still contagious. And whoever picked him up from the airport, people are just stupid. The guy is locked up at the airport for monkeypox. Why are you picking him up? They should lock them up too. So this is what the person said. So I said, he's claiming that this is what he said to the media, and this is what was reported by the Jamaican Observer. He said, I said, I'm going to leave the hospital, and you know exactly where I'm going. Okay. So all them putting out fake news, Sammy jumped through window and broke, B-R-U-K. Good. Broke out of hospital. Me walk straight past the doctor and tell him exactly where I was going. So that's a quote from this monkeypox patient, according to him, child. So my source says he's not telling the truth. I'm like, surprise, surprise. I can't believe you're talking about he just walked past the doctor. Really? So this is what they said. They're in the know, trust me. They said you cannot come out of that section that he was isolated in like that. He would have had to been buzzed out to exit the ward. And the ward entrance and exit, you have to go past the security to exit. And he can't just pass the security post either. When he was behaving belligerent and coming after the doctor screamed out for help and ran out of the room to the nurse's station. He's a bad little man there. Remember, he had active infectious lesions, and even though the doctor had on PPE, this patient's loud and threatening. He did not exit the ward past the nurse's station. He scooted out the place from before and planned his escape. He tried escaping through an emergency exit door the night before. And y'all getting a little exclusive this morning, but didn't know how to open the door. So, as I said, it's not true that he was about what he says about him walking past them. The isolation ward has a camera in every one of the rooms and cubicle that houses patients. So there is camera evidence. All the patients' care areas, including the side rooms, are air conditioned, but the bathrooms are not. But they say, but there's no central AC, as it is a ward that was retrofitted for isolation, etc. And in the years since the ward has been open, there's been no escapees. The windows are not sealed, and so they allow for ventilation in. There was no worry as to having them being able to be open to ventilate, as its location was no risk to anyone on the outside. So everything happened fast, I'm told. And he started arguing with the doctor and getting belligerent. And so the doctor ran out and called for help. By the time the alert was sounded, He went across the hallway to the bathroom, threw his suitcase through the window. The dude throws his suitcase through the window and climbed through the bathroom window to escape the ward. He was picked up outside the hospital gate by someone he called. The front of the hospital is not far from the ward that he escaped from. So by the time the alarm was sounded that he escaped, as they saw him going through the window, the only way for staff to exit the ward is on the opposite side to where he escaped. So he was meters ahead of them. By the time that they got to the gate and tried convincing him to come back into the hospital, there was a car there to pick him up. And I heard even that part wasn't a long period. It was a short time that this all went down. So even the CEO was pleading with him and even using her body to go in front of the car that picked him up to tell the driver not to take him. This should be an arrestable offense. Wow. So the source goes on to say, his issue, as he said in the article, is that he wanted to see his daughter, who seemingly wasn't coping with his absence. So he wanted to get to her ASAP. He apparently asked the day before to go home to do the rest of his quarantine at home. And the hospital doctor told him that they would have to discuss it with public health, as they're the ones who give the clearance about that request. The doctor apparently told him that we will see how you are tomorrow and what the other doctors in public health say in relation to you going home tomorrow. So this is what he was hanging on to, thinking indeed that he was going to be discharged the next day, the day he escaped, but there was no concrete discussion, and him being told definitely that he was going home that day, as the doctor would have to discuss with other persons who direct that aspect of stuff. As such, the consultant in charge of the ward re his acute care. The same conversation the day before that he escaped, he reportedly told the doctor that he wasn't let go the next day, which was Saturday. He would broke out and leave. So he did say that. So when he heard that he would have to stay, he got belligerent. I'm told that he was picked up. He was picked up. He had his daughter in his hand. She's the one who said that she had chicken pox. He caught monkeypox from it, not the monkeypox. Okay. And they had now sealed the bathroom windows because of this. So they've had to seal the bathroom windows because of his actions. Again, in 2+ years of COVID, they'd never had anyone escape, and the windows were not even eye level. You'd have to climb to get through them. They're big enough to hold a person going through. So no more ventilation for that bathroom. What a mess. Anyway, that's what he did. And he also apparently was telling people that he did not come or go back to Jamaica to not be able to enjoy his vacation. I don't know how old his daughter is, but what a mess. So someone confirmed about the drugs with this agriculture guy, that the shipment came from Miami and the foil is supposed to block the x-rays. Well, they're not blocking the dog smelling it. So what else we got? Ruby asking about a cold case team at the RCIPS. I think they've been doing something. We're still waiting for the RCIPS to come on the show, folks. They seem a little bit skittish, even though the governor said, tell him, he told them to come on. We've not heard from them. Are they afraid of the people? Are they afraid of your questions? I don't know. They should really be trying to engage people a bit more, but they like to just have a press conference where they control the narrative a bit more. I don't know who advises them on their PR stuff, but it's not good advice. Jonathan says, I would have just shot him because it's too hard to arrest him in the hazmat suit. Jonathan, you can't just go around shooting people, believe it or not. Shooting someone should be a last resort. And if there is imminent threat, like life, you don't just shoot people. So yes, Ruby basically saying he's a horrible dad if he's willing to put his child at risk. And I don't know how old this daughter is, but yeah, that's crazy. Some people just don't think things through. And then some people don't have the capacity to think things through. He probably doesn't understand how infectious monkeypox is. And yes, monkeypox doesn't kill the vast majority of people who get it, although I understand there's a kid, this latest outbreak that we've had. There was a kid in the ICU in the UK with it. So it can kill you, but it leaves horrible lesions and stuff on the body. I mean, it's horrific. So it's not something that you want to have an outbreak of. It's just not a nice disease. Jared laughing at the comment about the RCAPS. Olive says, what is wrong with the Jamaican hospital? Jonathan says he's heard stories. Well, I suppose nobody wants to be locked up in a hospital, but it's for your own good and more importantly, the safety of the community. But let's be honest here. Jamaicans don't have a reputation for being compliant when it comes to public health matters. That's why COVID has spread the way that it has in Jamaica. It's still killing. Let me give you some of the latest numbers. It's still killing people over there. And they just like, we have a disposable population, 3 million people. They don't really care. But let me tell you, for the Jamaican Ministry of Health and Wellness, they still put up COVID numbers, child. So they have 46 new cases. This is from Monday. No deaths reported on Monday. That's good. And positivity rate, 19.7%, 109 recoveries. The day before on Sunday, they had a death. And the day before that, on Saturday, they had 2 deaths. So yeah, people are still dying and they're just like, whatever. Survival of the fittest. Vaccination status, 89% of the people who are hospitalized in their public health hospitals, 89% are not vaccinated. They have 1% that are partially vaccinated and 10% that are fully vaccinated. So again, the vast majority of people who are hospitalized there are simply not vaccinated people. But they've had a total of confirmed cases. They've had a total of 143,000 confirmed cases. It's almost 140. That's kind of a tiny text, but almost 149,000 confirmed cases in Jamaica. Wow, that's a lot. And then do we have confirmed deaths? Yes, deaths and COVID positive patients. So total deaths, it looks like it's over 3,000. Oh gosh, this thing is so small. So they still have 298 deaths under investigation. Coincidental deaths, 269 deaths, and COVID-19 patient individuals is 3,157 in Jamaica. But they just go on with life. They're just like, whatever. We're going to go to the market. We're going to go shopping. We don't want people to stop us. Get out of our way. We're not going to get vaccinated. And it is what it is. And I think that's one of the reasons why the Prime Minister in Jamaica was like, just drop everything. Drop all the COVID restrictions. At this point, who cares? They're going to die. They're going to die. Whatever. Jamaicans really don't care. Like they were telling them, don't go to funerals. Don't go to parties. And they were like, no, we're going to party. We're going to have a house party. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. So what a mess. There you have it. Let's see. Damien, Ruby, that's a whole other discussion, shall. Damien says it's funny how big media can make us scared. Well, in the United States of America, monkeypox, and Florida in particular, they have essentially said that they're losing the monkeypox battle, and it is spreading. Now, they don't think that it's going to have it's not going to be COVID, because the way in which monkeypox spread, it is a little bit harder to catch. It is an infectious disease, but it's not really as contagious as like a pretty airborne disease like COVID, right? So it has to be through an open womb. So a lot of times you don't know that you have an open womb and you're touching somebody else who has it, you're going to end up catching it from them. So avoid close contact, skin to skin contact with people, right? Especially if they have a rash. Don't touch any rashes or scabs on a person. Sometimes you're just hugging, kissing, cuddling, having sex with people who have monkeypox and you don't know it. And that's how you're catching it. Also, don't share eating utensils or cups with a person with monkeypox. Don't handle their bedding, towels, and clothing. So you can imagine, even from a tourism perspective, how you got to be careful, make sure you're putting on your gloves, washing your hands with soap and water, and using alcohol-based hand sanitizers. If you have something and you think, because chickenpox, like I said, to probably the average person looks a lot like monkeypox, get it tested because they can test the lesions and confirm. And yeah, you really need to isolate. So, so far, no reported cases here. We had that one scare. I actually don't remember them confirming it wasn't monkeypox, but I guess since we haven't heard, did we ever get any results back on that? Let me ask somebody. Because I don't remember. Let me see. Yeah, because we were testing a young person. So, find out. All right, so young lady is looking for help. This person says, good morning, Miss Sandra. Just feel like I have to say and ask for this young lady. She's a mother of 2 boys and a girl, and the age is 1/2. I don't know if that's supposed to be a 1 and a 2-year-old. I don't understand that. Well, I get some clarification, but I guess that doesn't matter. So 3 kids for a young lady. She doesn't start her job until the end of the month, and she says she's asked around, but no help. Is there any way someone can help her with $200 to put back on her light? I spoke to her yesterday, but I just had paid my bills, and I brought 2 food for them, and she lives in Newlands. So these situations are always difficult because, unfortunately, everybody is having a really tough time right now. And when people are having a tough time, it is more and more difficult for them to be in a position to help other people. And so this is why I always suggest to people, listen, everybody at some point in your life, you're going to have a tough time where you need the help of other people. You just never know. That's just how life is. Things happen. But you've always got to put yourself in a position where you're less reliant on everything and you and the assistance of other people, because you just may not get the help even when you need it. It's difficult. You know, I get so many requests and there's only so much that I can do. And I always feel like it's always the same people who step forward and who are willing to help. And that's unfortunate because then those people get burnt out really, really easily. But if you're a young lady and you already have 3 children, let me give you a word of advice. I don't know how young of a lady you are. Let's say she's in her 20s. Get your tubes tied. You do not need another child. Now, I know some of y'all going, oh my God, Sandra, why would you tell her that? Get your tubes tied. You can't afford any more children. And I know everybody's like, what if she finally finds her Prince Charming? Okay. What's more likely to happen, though, is she's going to go through 20 frogs and have 5 more kids and never find a Prince Charming. Because when Prince Charming comes around, Prince Charming's like, why would I want you with all these children? You know, Prince Charmings normally have standards, honey child. Don't let nobody lie to you. You're Prince Charming. He's like, I'm going to have to take care of somebody else's 5 children. Oh, no. Even if he loves you to pieces, he's not likely to be willing to do that. Help yourself by getting your tubes tied. This government, there's certain things that they should make free at no cost. Tubal ligation should be free. If you want to get your tubes tied, you should be able to do it at 0 cost. Because we know abortion in this country is illegal. Get your tubes tied. Birth control should be free. In high school, hell, if the middle schoolers need it, make it free for them too. Now, I know I'm going into taboo section because y'all, we don't even want to talk about sex education for kids. A lot of schools in Cayman have a religious affiliation, especially the private schools, and some of them have refused sex education, even when it was presented by the MASH unit from the perspective of being age appropriate and to educate young children to be able to protect themselves from predators around them. The schools is like, no, this goes against a religious mandate. Your religious mandate should be to protect children. Really? You're afraid of educating people about their own bodies and about sex and kids that this is not appropriate touch. And if anybody does this to you, you need to call 911. You need to let your parents know. And if it's a parent that's doing it, let your teachers know, let the doctors know, let anybody know who will listen to you. It goes against your religious mandate. Your religious mandate should be to protect children at all cost. That's what Jesus would have done. But, we have this mandate to keep people ignorant. And by keeping them ignorant, you have some level of control over them, I guess. And this is what happens. This is the type of community that we live in. Birth control should be free. Anybody who needs it. Even back in the day when I went to USF, this was when was I USF? Early 90s? Mid 90s? You could go to the health clinic on campus. Condoms were free. Birth control options, free advice, free sex education. You needed to sit down and talk to someone about your options. It was free to do so. These are some of the preventative things that should be in place for young people. They need to educate themselves. Stop getting pregnant and having children you cannot afford. And these young boys mean you no good. They're just trying to get their little fix for the minute. They're not going to stick with you. They're not going to help you support these children. Why should this mother of 3 be out there now having her CUC bill shut off? Where's the father of these children? Or fathers? Because probably more than one, let's be honest. I'm not judging y'all. I'm just giving you facts. Don't go lay down with nobody who cannot maintain a child if you get pregnant for them. Tell them no thanks. My little 5-year-old, she's got such a good little manners. They teach her at school. Like if somebody's doing something she doesn't like and then she tells me a story, she's like, Mom, he was putting sand in my hair. And I said, no, thank you. Please, little boy, stop it. No, thank you. And I was like, oh, that's so nice. Because that was me. I would have punched him in the eye. But here we are in 2022. And the little kids say, no, thank you. Don't do that. Don't touch me. Don't put sand in my hair. No, thank you. I say, make sure you tell your teachers now. Because if mommy has to roll down there and talk to little Johnny about putting hair in your sand, I'm going to be like, little Johnny, what are you doing? So use the same principle. No, thank you. I don't want to have sex with you. You have nothing to offer me. You're a sperm donor, and that's not good enough. Young ladies, raise your standards. I'm not telling y'all not to have sex. Listen to me very carefully now. Because y'all be like, oh, Sandy don't want us to have sex. That's not what I'm telling you. I'm just telling you not to get pregnant. And some people can't help it. The second they have sex, they get you pregnant. So in those cases, you better off saying no, thank you. Jonathan says, we soon hear that it's gorilla pox. What a mess. The World Health Organization has asked them to rename monkeypox because they're saying it is a very non-PC word. Hey, Scott, there you are. It says that there's a whole new massive COVID wave coming through the Southern Hemisphere, and there are no restrictions that will go everywhere again. Yes, and there are people who are falling by the wayside. There are people who have managed to go all this time and not catch COVID, and now they're catching it. Look at the premier. Head of CDC, poor Chucky. Clifford, he got COVID now too. He's in isolation. Child, I'm scared because I haven't had COVID yet. I'm like, y'all stay away from me. Still wearing my mask when I go grocery shopping and that sort of stuff. And I'm really not trying to hang out with people. Don't be inviting me nowhere right now because I'm still kind of like a little bit skittish. But I reckon it's coming for us all. Oh my God. Shannon says, I never understand why we produce so many kids here and women never seem to do the math of how expensive it is. Hello? Even if you want to take a child on a vacation and every child should have the opportunity to see a little bit of the world. And can you believe that the world is not just Miami? I know y'all be like, oh, Miami, so exciting. That's not it. Listen, even in the United States of America, there's so many amazing places. I have not even, I want to tour every 50 state, all 50 states. I've been to California. I've been to New York just for a couple of days, but it wasn't like I really got to see New York. Sometimes we drive from Florida to like the Carolinas when I was a kid, but I'm like, there's so much more that I want to see of just America and the Caribbean. And I haven't been to Europe yet. Like I got a lot of traveling myself to do. So I'm hoping COVID kind of settles down because I want to do more of it without having to catch COVID. And I want my daughter to be able to, she was talking to me yesterday about a teacher at school has gone to Paris. Well, did she say Paris? I think she said France. And I said, oh, she's holidaying in France. She's like, I guess it's a holiday. And then she's got a little friend who moved to England. So she's like, can we go to England? And I'm like, one day. I mean, I think her friends go to Scotland, but I'm like, yes, we're going to go to England and Scotland. She's like, oh my gosh, can we go right now? She's like, so excited. I'm like, not right now. But all children should have the opportunity to be able to travel and see the world because it broadens their horizons and allows them to just become better, well-rounded people. And here you are having so many children that even getting to Miami is like, even going to East End is a journey for you to pack up 6 kids to go to the beach. Like there has to be something inherently wrong with that. And I can't believe that people don't think about it. Hey, El Ray says, preach that out loud. Don't have kids you can't afford to maintain. I always thought 2 was the perfect number. You know, I think if I was younger, when I had my first one, I probably would have had 2. And that would have been it. Never imagine more than 2 kids. I'm not into let's have a big family. I'm like, why? You know, I come from a big family. How many people are in a family of 8? And we never all grew up in the same household at the same time, but I could only imagine how chaotic that would have been. Yes, Everton, but I think she didn't say Paris, she said France, I think. But yes, don't have children you can't afford. So I feel it for this young lady. And I mean, $200 to turn on her lights. What she probably should do is send us the account number for the light bill because some of y'all be trying to get cash in hand and people ain't about that life anymore because people work really hard for their money. You know, we all have to get up and go to work and people work hard for their money. And when people work hard for their money, it's hard to give it to somebody who, number one, hasn't been working hard for their money and who's been making really poor decisions and choices in their life. I'm just saying. And of course, you know, we feel for the kids. That's always the hooker, right? That's what brings you in. You're like, oh, these kids shouldn't have to live without air conditioning. A CUC bill for a family of 4 or 5 people in this heat, because you know how hot it is out right now. Please get your tubes tied. Stop having children. That's my PSA. El Ray, I was asking a question of you earlier, but I don't think you were on. How many calls, you might know this since you work for Flow. The other day we had up to 5 callers on the line. How many callers can we have calling straight line at one time? Like they call in and then I join them together. Is that a limit to how many people? Marlon said he'd think it might be 10, but I don't know where he got that number from. Do you have any idea? Because I always thought it was like 3-way calling, but we had 5 people. How many can I have? That's kind of interesting. Couple more minutes left in the program today, beautiful folks. Damien says we need to get pay. We need to get pay as you go CUC meters like Sister Island. Pay as you go. Oh. Does pay as you go save you money? I don't know. CUC has put a lot of measures in place to make people be a little bit more conscious of what they're using. So you can get alerts. This is a mobile phone. So you can get alerts to tell you, like you can say, okay, if I use like this amount of kilowatts per day, let me know if I exceed that. And then CUC will send you a little alert to say, okay, if you just exceeded that. That's part of there. You can just go online and log in to your online monitoring system and it'll tell you that. Damien, you can do that even with CUC. And Jerry confirms that CUC does have a prepaid option as well. Maybe it's time to have CUC back on the program to talk about some of these things. Folks, on Bobo, thank you for tuning in. We're going to be saying goodbye to you guys, and we will see you guys tomorrow.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels. And visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.
All right, folks, that's it for Bobo listeners. Sri Lanka, their president has ran and left the country. He left on their Air Force and he's gone to, where did he end up going to? Some other country, Joe. But, oh, God, they're a hot mess. They stormed the presidential palace. People there taking selfies, swimming in the pool, doing the most. And I'm not sure how any of that's going to make their lives any better. But anyway, he's gone. They're having some real issues because of the inflation and gas shortages and gas increases and all sorts of stuff. In Thailand, they're going to soon introduce chemical castration in return for a reduced prison sentence for sex offenders. Interesting. I'm all for it, but I don't know from the evidence how much that's going to really help, because it's more of a mental thing with people who commit sexual offenses. So have you guys seen the big news about this telescope, this photo of this that has been taken from like another galaxy? It's amazing. The clarity, let me get a picture for you guys and show you this. The clarity of this whole, like, it's just science is just so amazing. Like, we can see another galaxy and what it looks like. It's like, wow. If you're into science, by the way, tonight is the 13th. We have, I think it's going to be the biggest and brightest full moon or something of the night. We'll post it up on social media, so make sure you guys look at the moon tonight. There's something going on. I think it's the biggest one for 2022, or the brightest or whatever. I'll get you guys some details on that. But because of this, we have been able to see a galaxy. Trying to understand this is like so weird, because here's what one headline says. This galaxy was already grown up and spinning 13.3 billion years ago. The concept of time with the universe is just like so amazing. So they have caught a photo of what this other galaxy looks like. If you've not seen these yet, it is truly amazing. So it is the James Webb Telescope. And these are some first photos. Let me show you guys this. All right, hold on. I'm going to pull this over into another screen because y'all need to see this. To me, visually, this is like crazy. It's just amazing. All right, hold on. Modern technology. We live in such an amazing time. All right, so this is a commercial. Wait till the commercial's over. Skip this ad. All right, here we go.
Stunning vista of the cosmic cliffs of the Carina Nebula reveals new details about this vast stellar nursery. Today, for the first time, we're seeing brand new stars that were previously completely hidden from our view. The Carina Nebula is a nearby star-forming region within our own Milky Way galaxy, about 7,600 light years away. And in this view, we see some great examples, first of all, of hundreds of new stars that we've never seen before. We see examples of bubbles and cavities and jets that are being blown out by these newborn stars. We even see some galaxies sort of lurking in the background up here. We see examples of structures that, honestly, we don't even know what they are. Like, what's going on here? The data is just so rich. In general, what's happening in sort of this overall landscape is we have these gigantic, hot, young stars up here to the top of this rim, and the radiation and stellar winds from those stars is sort of pushing down and running into all of this. This is gas and dust, and of course we know that gas and dust is great raw material for newborn stars and baby planets. But there's a flip side to this story and also a little bit of a mystery, because these same processes can serve to sort of erode away this material and stop star formation. So we have this sort of delicate balance going on of new stars being formed, but at the same time, the star formation is being halted. And for me, when I see an image like this, I can't help but think about scale. You know, every dot of light we see here is an individual star, not unlike our sun. And many of these likely also have planets. And it just reminds me that, you know, our sun and our planets and ultimately us were formed out of the same kind of stuff that we see here. We humans really are connected to the universe. We're made of the same stuff in this beautiful landscape.
It's amazing. Truly amazing, folks. I don't even know what to say. It's mind-blowing for me to even consider it. But here's what somebody said, right? This is funny. Look at this. Someone says 4.6 billion light years away, 10 feet away from a security camera. So the telescope is giving us such clarity. And then we're looking at this dude 10 feet away and you can't even make out if it's a man or woman or what the heck it is. That's funny. You can get better cameras than that, though, folks. It's all about what you're willing to do. You can now get, I think there are 8K cameras. So 4K, 8K is double that, obviously. I think you can get 8K cameras if your system can handle it. So Jonathan says they better talk to Elon Musk because he's going to be the only one that can hand out the tickets, these space tickets. So it's an amazing situation for sure. You know, I just look at it and I think, wow, that is pretty cool. That is amazing. And it questions everything that we know or we think we know about the universe and about the world around us. And, you know, so many of us have ideas that we're the only people in the universe because your mommy told you that that's what the Bible says, that God created the heavens and the earths. But there's a whole lot out there. God is still busy because things are being created every single day. They are new stars. They're potentially new planets beyond us. They're in the process of being created, and it makes you question everything you think you know. Because if you read the Bible and you accept the Bible at face value, there's no way that anything existed 13.3 billion years ago. But yet it did. Right? It didn't. The world was not created with Adam and Eve. The dinosaurs existed billions of years before us. Was it billions or millions? I don't even know, but a long time. And so everything that we think we know about the universe, if you're open to it, means that what you think you know is completely wrong. So this is an amazing telescope that has, wow, highest ever resolution images to be released by the newly aligned James Webb Space Telescope. Huh. You guys want to have a little sci-fi moment today? Let's listen to this. Hold on. Hold on. Listen to this. This is a podcast contribution here.
This horror story about the Webb telescope will chill your bones. While most of the science world is thrilled over the highest ever resolution images that are about to be released by the newly aligned James Webb Space Telescope, one fictitious horror story making the rounds might give you pause about looking into the beyond. Imagine, if you will, the scariest types of secrets a NASA employee could hold, and then throw it out the window, because this story isn't about any of them. No, the Earth isn't flat, and aliens don't control the government, Redditor Youth/PhoneCloth wrote in the beginning of their r/no sleep story. Fuck, I wish those were the case, as the truth is much, much worse. The story begins with the Hubble, the United States' other famous space telescope, which in this tale's universe saw a star disappear in 1993. It didn't go supernova, or die naturally, it simply went dark, over the span of a few minutes, the story continues. This star was already too faint to see with the naked eye, and ground-based telescopes had trouble picking it out from among the surrounding stars, so the event wasn't widely known to the public. As the story goes, the Hubble later spotted a binary star system vanish in 2007. Perturbed, NASA astronomers started looking into other irregularities and found that 2 other stars in the same interstellar neighborhood had also gone out, in 1995 and 2002. What's more, a mass spectrometer reading revealed that the no invisible stars had gone very, very cold. B. That familiar elements, hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and magnesium, were present, and C. There were strange filaments connecting one disappeared star to another, forming a bizarre web that stretched across light years. Before the Webb telescope came online, the prevailing theory in this terrifying tale was that alien civilizations had constructed what are known as Dyson spheres, an early 20th century speculative technology that would allow all the energy of a star to be trapped inside a shell as a source of energy. It seemed like they may have discovered proof of extraterrestrial life, and everyone was thrilled. Everyone at NASA was fascinated by this mystery, the writer bemoans. In hindsight, we may have been better off if we had never discovered the truth. The ending of this story is too good to summarize, and too surprising to guess, so be sure to check it out on r/no sleep.
Wow. Say what? Okay, stars that just disappear. There's so much that we still don't know. You know, there's this Big Bang Theory. We're 440 million years after that, it says. Rotating galaxies spin at a rate that, depending on their mass, 200 Milky years away. I mean, it's like, to me, it's just, I don't even understand it. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I get any of this. I'm just in awe of all of it. Like, I read a little snippet. Stars that formed 300 million years ago, billions of years ago, galaxies forming. I'm just like, what? For us to believe that we're the only intelligent life form in the universe, to me, is like really weird. And it doesn't make any logical sense. I accept our limitations as human beings, and I don't even think that we're probably all that intelligent. I think there are probably life forms out there that are way more intelligent than we are. So we sit back and we learn. That's all I can tell you. And I think the more that we learn, the more that we have to accept that we know very little. And our intelligence, our very survival of this planet and this universe and the whole 9 yards might be out of our hands. Like maybe one day Earth is just gonna disappear like other stars. Like, bloop, we're gone. That's it. I don't know. It's just, it is very, very fascinating. The concept of alternative universes is something that we see in comic book stories. And, if you watch TV, there's a couple of shows about it, but who knows? So the entire solar system, they say, could collapse because of a passing star. That means us. It could be just as easy as that. So this whole Carina Nebula thing is like, wow. Check it out, folks. Don't be limited to what you think you know. There's another headline here that says scientists pinpoint Martian origin of 4.5 billion-year-old black beauty meteorite. It just blows my mind. And I think having your mind blown with like scientific things is a good thing. That's a good mind blow. You don't need to smoke anything to get that kind of a fix. Just that knowledge and understanding that we are learning every single day, thanks to technology, a little bit more about the world and the universe and beyond, about us. So yeah, it is pretty interesting and pretty fascinating. So I think there's some lunar situation tonight. Like I said, I'll look it up and I'll post it on our social media. Of course, the BA.5 subvariant escapes immunity is being discussed in the scientific world. So they're like, this could be the worst variant for COVID. I don't even know what to say about COVID.
A steady increase in North Texas COVID-19 cases has caught the attention of local health experts. Their biggest concern is that the current COVID vaccine may not be able to fight a new variant as well as it fought previous strains. Alex Boyer, live tonight with what infectious disease doctors are most worried about. Alex.
Yeah, hi, Steve. I talked to a top researcher today who tells me he's really worried about this new B5 variant, specifically because it's highly transmissible and also it's responsible for several breakthrough infections. Pharmaceutical companies are now working to develop a variant-specific vaccines, which may be more effective.
These kinds of subvariants were always a possibility.
The White House COVID-19 response team is warning Americans about a new highly transmissible subvariant, BA.5.
We know that as the virus continues to evolve, our response and guidance must evolve with it.
CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky says BA.5 is a variant of the original Omicron strain. BA.5 now represents 65% of all new COVID infections. The latest 7-day average shows hospital admissions have doubled since early May, though still well below peak levels in mid-January. 32% of the country is living in a high COVID community level, represented by orange, and 42%, including Dallas County, is living in a medium COVID community level, represented by yellow.
Currently, many Americans are under-vaccinated, meaning they are not up to date on their COVID-19 vaccines.
Currently, only Americans over the age of 50 or those with underlying health conditions are eligible for a second booster. Dr. Anthony Fauci says there's no timeline as to when that could change.
And in this case, it's a regulatory decision on the part of the FDA and the CDC will examine it with regard to whether or not they'll recommend it or allow it or what have you.
But top researchers say the current COVID vaccines and boosters don't appear to offer much protection against BA5.
You are still actually at risk of catching BA5. It's different enough that it escapes some of that immunity. This seems to be a lot more severe in hamsters. It causes a lot more hemorrhage in the lungs, a lot more sort of bad things, infects more cell types more efficiently.
Dr. Benjamin Newman is chief virologist at Texas A&M. He says more breakthrough cases are being reported.
It is a worrying development.
Newman says the test positivity rate is as high as it was in January during the record Omicron surge, but he says BA5 cases are underreported due to an increase in home testing.
We know that it's bad. We know that hospitalizations are rising and cases are rising. We're still in the early stages of this new outbreak, and we know the wave's coming. We're not sure how high it's going to be, but it doesn't look good.
And medical experts still recommend getting fully vaccinated and boosted if you have not done so already. And if you become infected with BA5, the CDC director recommends talking to your doctor, asking them about the oral prescription. It's an antiviral called Paxlovid, and it's been shown to reduce the risk of hospitalization and death of COVID-19 by some 90%.
Wow. Well, there you have it, folks. A little bit of up-to-date COVID news for you guys as well. Crazy. It just never ends. Anyway, folks, tomorrow is Thursday. You guys have a fabulous day. I've got to go to an appointment. I hope that you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Catch you back here tomorrow morning at 7:30. And until then, please be safe and don't do anything I wouldn't do, which is probably a long list. Take care, guys.